Wow. The mic cancer. Intense. Oh, the radio. It's broken.
What happened?
I don't know. Yini was determined to cause all of our eardrums to bleed.
Look, I was just trying the other mic for once.
It was not successful.
Clearly. So we were talking about people and second chances before we started the stream up, which we should be live now. Yeah, it appears that we are. Now, I can tell you there are certain people that I think they just get entirely too many chances, like lizard people.
Yep.
In fairness, Nancy Pelosi never asked for more chances. She just
doesn't need. She doesn't. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is over everything. She has no consequences. No one to like. So
she has environmentally adapting skin. She can climb along walls. She comes up behind people and snaps out her elastic, sticky tongue and eats them whole before they even realize what's going to happen. So I don't think Nancy Pelosi needs second chances. She's a monster.
But
that's fine.
I think the thing is, the real thing is
like the damn cat that needs the extra chances. So Nancy Pelosi, no.
You know when Biden is sniffing someone, he's not sniffing them. He's just like inputting larvae in their ear. So
that's possible.
Mind control, you know.
Like maybe he's just smelling the scent signals that have been rubbed on their bodies by the other lizards. He's trying to see which one of my broodmates has rubbed themselves.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Zuckerberg said it himself. I mean, I was human. No, I mean, I am human. So, like...
Yeah, he sent me that in a DM. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's a Freudian slip.
Nah, Freud was a fraud. But, no, I mean... Zuckerberg is just an awkward motherfucker. I to this day I don't know how to quite take him. He is kind of holding the line a little bit at Facebook. I mean, no one's happy with him, and that's kind of interesting. Like the progressives don't like him, the conservatives don't like him. He doesn't make anybody happy, and that's kind of interesting.
He's like the rich guy at school that no one liked, but no one could have dissed because he was really rich, you know. So they're like, yeah, you're not in that club, but
I mean, he's not giving people what they want. So like the progressives are asking for everything to get shut down and put in their favor. He's not doing that.
Nope.
And the conservatives are, I think, predominantly just asking to be left alone, and they're not
doing that.
Not quite getting that either. So everybody's mad. I mean, what was her name? Angela Merkel, the potato-faced queen of Europe, famously harangued Zuckerberg for not censoring her political opponents in Germany. She was very upset that she has a lock on the German media. She's able to control what they say, but for some fucking reason, there's this American social network that Germans are able to log into and talk about how dumpy and Cabbage Patch looking Angela Merkel is, and how it's kind of crazy that she's been in power for as long as anyone can remember.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that she was trying to silence her opponent. It doesn't surprise me, but I didn't know.
Jesus, yes. Everyone in the UE, like EU. Sorry.
Yeah.
That
was a Bidenism.
Yeah, that was a Biden. But like in Croatia, they're scared of the EU. They don't talk about it. They don't want to know anything about it. They just say like, okay, we're gonna just follow what they're saying for the moment. And they just pretty much exiled a bunch of immigrants in Croatia because they were sick of Islam. And
so, if it helps you with the order, just think of it as you're extending you. You.
We should probably have a little introduction for our friend here. I don't think he's had an introduction.
No,
I'm Will, by the way. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Will.
Well, nice to meet
Matt.
you, Will.
I'm a jackass from California. How you doing?
I'm a jackass from Montreal. How are you doing?
Oh, there you go. So, you want to tell us anything about yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm actually trying to move to the U.S. because I've been fighting for the destruction of the current system in Canada forever, the English vs the French, and I've given up. I'm with Trudeau in power and everything that's going on, liberals in Canada. So I'm working on a translator degree, and after that, I
Okay,
want to move to the U.S. to start to write a book on Niccolo Machiavelli because
I see.
I think people don't understand the ins and outs of what he was saying because in the time where when he wrote the book, he couldn't say shit like he wanted to because
Hmm.
he knew that if he did, he would have been killed.
Right.
Even at the end, the church said, "Whoa, bro, you're pushing it." So I want to take it back and retranslate it a second time to give my point of view.
So are you going to go over? I'm not going to claim to be a historian, but I do enjoy history on occasion.
Hmm.
Um, are you going to look into the Medici
Yep,
and the interaction between Machiavelli and the Medici?
yep. Even why Machiavelli got simped pretty
Yeah,
much.
Sims, huh?
Yep, he simped himself because he was in love with a like a noble woman, and I think that kind of pretty much blinded him to the reality of things. But the reason why he did the book was because of the French,
Hmm.
and my half French part hates me for doing that. But yeah, I
Really?
gotta explain. Yeah, because the fact of the matter, the French were a good and strong nation before Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
And after Napoleon, everything that is going on in the world right now is connected with what happened in the French Revolution, the fail of it and the repercussion of it and everything.
Look, I
So,
can definitely see that in because a lot of this sort of chaotic reappropriation of merit, and so I mean it's one thing to go and attack a nobleman and say, you basically got whatever you got by putting your boots on the back of the neck of whomever, right? It's
yep.
another thing altogether to go after a blacksmith and say, well, you're a very successful blacksmith, but I don't like how successful you are, even though you literally earned all the money yourself. So we're gonna kill you.
Exactly. And
Wait, Napoleon did that?
No,
no,
the
but
the terror did the terror.
yeah, like the thing in France, what happened is that they took out of context what uh royalty said to someone because they were hungry. So she said to him, "Well, feed them cake."
Mm.
But the way that was translated was like, well, they just need to eat cake, eat like a an insult to the people. But in a fact, she was asking them to feed them the cake that they were taking. Like,
Was it?
yeah,
Well, so I've heard another story on this, and I don't know if this is true or not. Is that there were different types of flour? There was cake flour and there was bread flour,
yeah.
and the cake flour, for whatever reason, was less expensive than the bread flour. At this one, there was a commodity disjunction that happened in France where the bread flour got expensive, and it was
Mm-hmm.
causing problems.
Mm-hmm.
But the cake flour didn't jump up in price, and my understanding is that what she was saying was, well, just buy the cake flour for now. It's fine. And that was taken to be
Condescending.
insensitive.
Yeah,
That
that's
that's
it.
that said, I will push back on one thing here. I don't think that the French aristocracy was really doing a very good job running
Nope.
France.
No, they
I
were
really
not.
I don't think it was a well-run country,
Nope.
and I think that their mismanagement ultimately is what led to the revolution.
Well,
Because
it's a good example for the disconnect between the I class that we have in North America and the
mm,
people are the silent majority.
mm,
It's the same thing. If you see how Democrats are treating people in the US and how the
yeah,
royalty in France treated people and the
yeah.
disconnect between both of them, you have a lot of similar things with Pelosi going to take her haircut, but people are shutting down their are losing everything. and she mocks them after, saying, "Oh, you set me up."
Yeah.
Well,
You set me up by telling me that I could come in even though the laws that I put forth said that I couldn't.
with no mask.
Yeah.
No, it was worse than that because salons weren't set to open up till the next day. She got in a day early with no mask.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, rules for me, but not for me.
So if you see, like Machiavelli talks about something about the designs of society and principalities and republics. He says that nothing will work if it's not a republic, because whatever you're saying to yourself, you're lying. It's not gonna work. You can't allow yourself to be unstructured. You need a structured republic with responsible civilians. Everyone is responsible for everyone. If
I
not,
can't say that I exactly argue with that because aside from the bad apples that are burning cities down right now and not being held to account, our republic works pretty good.
So, I mean, if people were not defending criminals and letting pedophiles and sex offenders riot and destroy the poor people's businesses and homes because it's not the rich that are paying for all of this, well, it wouldn't, like, it has to stop there. I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse is not a vigilante. I think there's a lot of things that needs to be discussed, and maybe there was things that he didn't do according to the law, or there was some things that were not legit or legitimate.
Yeah.
But is it legitimate to release prisoners because of a fake fucking COVID scare, then send those to riot in cities, saying that they're people that protest for BLM and Antifa and the rights of people? I think people need to wake up. Like
it's one of the benefits of something. I don't know. You may push back on this, and naturally, you're welcome. I'm a fan of English common law, which actually has a good way of addressing this sort of thing, because it's all based on the notion of the reasonable man.
Yep.
And a fun thing happens when you start having riots in the streets, and the cops stop doing their jobs, and the judges stop doing their jobs, and the mayor stops doing their job. That actually changes what the law is.
Yep.
Which is interesting, because that's somewhat unique. You have to have a dynamic element in the law which takes into consideration circumstance.
Yes.
For that to occur. And it is a thing in English common law where if everything goes crazy, suddenly what is reasonable changes. And I'm only obliged as a citizen to act reasonably.
Yeah.
I'm not obliged to do anything else. And if the reasonable thing is in fact to shoot the zombie straight in their face, well, I'm following the law here, pal.
Yep. And I think that the Bill of Rights and what the founding fathers wanted to do is create a place for people to be free and have the right to be morally right, and to have judgment on something. And I think that Americans are responsible for their freedom. They have to keep that right to be responsible for their freedom. And I think that the media is not with you guys. The media is
so parts of the media. I mean, the thing is like, what does the media even mean? Like these institutions, they always like to basically conflate themselves with like quasi-government or academic institutions. This notion that they have some kind of license. Like you can't walk out onto the street and say, okay, I'm a newspaper today.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, no. Really, you've got to go to a government website or something and petition and fill out a form and maybe get licensed. And it's like, there's no such thing.
Nope.
There's no such thing. The New York Times doesn't have a license to sell newspapers. They just sell newspapers.
Yeah, you really could just go out and be like, I'm a newspaper today.
Yep.
It's like a company that does bottled water. What do you think they're doing? Creating water or plastic bottles?
Well, sure. And
It's
Frequently, what's happened is that governments, or state, at the state and city level in particular, have attempted to control who's allowed to get into things. They'll say, "Well, of course, we respect the media," and then what they'll do to try and to limit that is and we define the media as this limited group.
Yep.
And then what happens every single time they try to apply one of those things, they go before an American judge and they go, "Can you point anything to me in the Constitution that suggests that this legal fiction called the media, which I mean, from a legal standpoint, doesn't exist?
Yeah, that's weird.
Show me where you get your rights here." And they're like, "Well, that's complicated." Smoke bomb, and they run away. And that's all they had. And so the judges, this has gone to the Supreme Court. They'll say, "No, you don't have any special rights." And what that also means is that guy over there who just says he's the media, well, he is. As much as you are. And you could have a newspaper that's been selling papers in large volume for 150 years.
Yep.
And some guy shows up walking around in his boxers and he says, "No, I'm a reporter."
Yep.
And the judge responds, "Oh, that means about as much to me as anything you're saying, newspaper of 150 years."
Yeah, but the people, that's the problem. Before internet, or like before mass media was that strong, you had a criminal that did something and he was judged in court by the jury. Now you have someone that does something and the media judges him, and then he gets his sentence in court, which is it's disgusting.
Well,
It doesn't
no,
work like that, man.
that's been around since toga days.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's ancient. You got to watch out for that. We have look, our media gets better and worse. So if you go back to I don't know, I think the 1880s through the 1910s.
Yeah, okay.
Back
I
around
know
then.
what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
We had a lot of really terrible media in the United States. And
that's true.
And also, arguably, in the 1930s through the 40s, it was also rather bad,
Yeah.
but in a different way. We were so much in a war footing, so much fixated on what the government was doing, that everything became, very much rah the government, whatever the hell that was. And so we started to have a less independent media, largely because people just didn't want it. We wanted to hear about how we were shooting the Germans in the face, or how we were going to recover from the Great Depression, or whatever. That was it. And
but
so
it feels like we're still stuck in the propaganda of World War II.
Are we?
We're still stuck in the PTSD of that World War. Like,
I think that might be true for some countries. I don't think the United States is so much stuck in that. We might be scarred by the Cold War, which is something that a lot of other countries basically pretend doesn't exist.
Honestly, I think that USA is scarred by its own ego because of what it did after what it did to the world in World War II and after. The thing is that Sun Tzu says about the art of war, and the greatest enemy that you want to defeat is when it's arrogant about its own skills. Flatter them.
Right.
Tell them that they are good. Tell them that they are great. Like, that's how China approached the USA at the start after World War II. And from that day, from the day that China started that, the Yuri Bezmenov video.
I've seen it.
Yeah. It's a great idea of what the USSR was up to. But there was a big crash in their government and in their way of doing. And I really think, honestly, that China, and since World War II, subversion is happening, but not from Russia exactly. He started there, but it's not them really. I think that there's globalists that want to own the US because they already have the bank there. The Fed Bank is nothing from the US. And they are the one that makes the money in the US.
They make a lot of the money. I mean, look, we got a lot out of those deals as well. So, when we were dealing with the Chinese initially. They were united with the USSR as a united bloc, the communist bloc.
Yep.
And yes, the United States offered the Chinese something, but we got something out of it. What we got is we divided the bloc.
Yep.
And once that happened, we made a deal that we would leave China alone. We would help them industrialize and not interfere with them. And in return for that, they would turn their back on the Soviets.
Okay,
And
but my
then
question,
we turned on the Soviets.
Yep.
And ate them alive.
But what happened is that how many schools of thoughts of the U.S. are in China at the moment?
We have quite a bit of penetration in China.
Yeah, but schools of thought, like in universities or like in institutions in
Are you talking
China.
about Confucius? Yeah, so you're saying because the United States doesn't have official academic liaisons in China, that we're losing or something.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there was some in the U.S., a lot of them from China doing.
Yeah, definitely.
You're mostly the Confucius Institute.
Yep.
I'd definitely say that they did infiltrate a good chunk of our education system.
Oh yeah.
But that's not a victory. It's just a startup to a machine of subversion. The thing is, I think that we're too much concentrated on thinking that Russia is bent on destroying America at the moment, because they're stuck in the middle of a powder keg as well as much as anyone else, and they're scared more of China than we have the notion. Like, I think that Putin is not scared, but he just knows that China is goddamn dangerous. They just said recently that they are not allied and they are partners to be, and they stated that very, very officially.
Sure.
So I think that by underestimating China for many, many years as being a country that was a victim of Japanese, of Russia, of this, of that, we've been weakened to think that the Chinese were lesser or maybe not a threat to the US as much as they were for the last 20 years. And slowly they're taking industries, they're stealing technology, they're stealing viruses, they're caught in an espionage thing with teachers and schools. And I mean, you have to be careful. It's when we were talking about forgiveness, that's the issue. The people are becoming too friendly. Like, diversity is a myth. It's not a good thing.
Well, that's a separate issue from with China itself. I think we have entered a second Cold War.
Yep.
So if your concern is that the United States is
no, I'm not concerned.
Is not interested in dealing with China, I think we actually pretty robustly are.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm actually very happy of what the sanctions the U.S. has put on China at the moment. I'm currently reading a lot about the sanctions and what's going on in China, and Trump is being brutal with the officials that are there in Hong Kong, pretty much cutting all their possibilities to have any bank account in the U.S., any estate. Like, he's doing a very good job, and he's pushing Australia, Canada, and there's another big country that is really pissed at China at the moment. Australia.
India?
Most of the world is.
Did you mention India?
India, yeah. Well, India. Did you hear what happened yesterday?
There's further invasions of India.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that there were invasions of India, and India kept kicking China's ass, but I didn't know they had done anything yesterday.
Oh yes, yesterday it escalated. They're near starting a war, because it started with like punches and sticks and stones, and now it's artillery and stuff. So
the Chinese are losing.
Yep.
Not because they're getting outnumbered, or because they're not sending enough troops, or because they're getting outplayed. It's because they're intentionally sending very small forces, but they don't stop. Their idea is constant pressure, but small. They don't want to send enough that it triggers a war, but they want to send enough that it annoys and irritates their opposition back, and then they take and fortify land, and then they push forward and they keep doing it. And so the only way to stop them is to react disproportionately to their action. And then China complains about a disproportionate response. But you have to simply not care. You have to say, look, I don't have to be proportional when you cross my border.
Nope.
I can just kill you all. You know what you're doing. It's not like you got lost. And you know that this is a disputed border, and everyone's a little spicy about it at the moment. So, if you send a couple thousand guys across the border to start building things on my side of the border, yeah, I'm just going to blow you up.
Yep, and I think that
as you should, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that the U.S. is actually doing a great job at and putting that vice grip on China. And like even Trump, I love the fact that he's constant about calling it the China virus.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I refuse to call it COVID, except for statements like that.
I like Wu flu.
Yeah,
CCP
flu. I think that's my favorite.
CCP virus works for me.
No.
Like it reminds me that
Wu flu rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, it's funnier too.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of diseases, California set forth a bill that.
Oh my God.
Now, Will and I had discussed this earlier, and he put it into perspective for me. It wasn't that they allowed for more pedos; it's that they made it equal if you're gay. So, like, this is what they used to have just for straight.
Yeah. The deal that basically there's some legislation that's been on the books in California since the 1970s, when homosexuality was, I guess, I mean, even in those days, it wasn't quite illegal, but there were elements of the law that effectively made aspects of it illegal. And
what is it, because of the Christianity?
Well, it's just a relic of historical squeamishness. But the notion was that if a homosexual man had intercourse with a boy that was and there was some notion of consent in that would immediately register the homosexual man as a sex offender. Whereas if a heterosexual man had sex with a underage girl, that would then be left to the discretion of the judge. And so what this law has done is it's made it within the discretion of the judge whether the person is heterosexual or homosexual. So it equalized these two positions. Now, Uni was arguing, and I can understand that it should have gone the other way. That it should have been, if you want it to be equal, then it should have been that the heterosexual pedophilia should have just been treated as harshly.
Yeah.
But that's not the direction they went, and there's an argument for being even-handed with these things. So I think a lot of people are being. It damages credibility, I find, when people are hyperbolic with these things. You have to be fair.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily being hyperbolic with things. The way this bill is written up is you can be 25 and bang a 15-year-old, and there's a chance that you're not going to be put on a registry, that you're not going to be considered a sex offender.
Well, yeah, but that's because that's how it already was for a man having apparently consensual intercourse with a girl.
Well, as you pointed out before, though, or earlier, was the big problem is it falls down onto distrust with the judges. And I have a lot of distrust with the judges.
Exactly. Yep. No, if we trusted the judges, this wouldn't be a problem. The issue is that a lot of people are like, well, no, I want to give you codified law that forces you to do certain things if certain things are determined. And I understand that. But here's the other thing. Why don't we make our judges better?
Yeah, but okay, let's be frank about something. States in the U.S. are their little country to themselves.
Yeah.
It's like there's different perspective and different laws, and I didn't even know this myself, and I'm discovering it, and it's wide. Like there's things you can do in New York that don't do in California.
Oh
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
so
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
Mhm.
America 101.
uh-huh. So, but the way that it's done, it should, in my perspective, since when I was younger, I know about like 15, 16, I was physically abused, not sexually, but, and I know that it's like discipline and abuse is really narrow. Sexual abuse and consensual sex is very narrow.
Mhm.
When the age difference is too far apart and you have one party that is not mature enough to take a decision, the majority of the time, it should be a penalty for the person that is in higher age, which has a moral or more of a mature perspective. There's exceptions when you have a 16 or 15-year-old that are more mature than me at the moment,
Uh,
but that's
well,
really rare.
yeah. No, it's just this distrust of the judges, and I think that really is more to the point. I don't think the given legislation that we're talking about here is really the problem. It's that
Okay.
we don't we don't trust then that the judge is going to be reasonable
Don't
because
you
the
think
judge. Hmm?
it should be the people then? More of a jury kind of a collective of people than a judge to take a decision towards something that is more sensible like this?
The juries have the ability to recommend sentences.
But they can't really. I when I was young, I thought that the jury really was the ones that took the final decision. But I was said that no, a judge can reverse that. Judge can say,
Generally, they can't though. If the jury won't cooperate with the judge it has no ability to impose his will. So, for example,
mm,
let's say I go into a building
mm,
and I shoot 20 people in the head. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
and then I surrender to the police.
uh-huh,
I get my orange jumpsuit. I go to trial, and I look at the judge. You got me on tape doing all this stuff. I
mhm.
was caught red-handed. I look at the judge right in the face and I say, "Yeah, I'm innocent. By whatever ridiculous reason, I'm innocent. I just say I'm innocent. Fine." And then the judge is like, "Okay, well, it's stupid, but
I
due
believe.
process now requires that you get a court trial. So, would you like to have a judge or jury trial?" And I say, "Well, I'm going to have a jury trial." And for whatever reason, the jury I get says not guilty. And they're like, "Really? Well, why do you say he's not guilty?" And they're like, "Well, because fuck you. That's why."
Because purple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I don't. The jury doesn't have to explain themselves.
no,
All they
but
have to.
the judge can, after the sentence is given, he can call the prosecutor and tell them you have to go on. Like, I don't know the name of it, but they it's like, yeah, okay, you're not guilty, but there's still an indictment on you, and they're gonna try to put a guilty sentence on you. I don't remember
Well,
the name of it though.
well, yeah. The problem is then at that point, you have a credible argument of double jeopardy. So if you try me, if I've been tried and found innocent, you're going to have to show an additional crime that I have not been tried for that you can try me for now. So you can keep concocting things. The thing is that
Ah,
once I've gotten off of the core crime, it becomes easier and easier to get off of other things. You might get a civil penalty or something.
yeah, 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 I
There's
get it.
things. Like so OJ got he got
Yeah,
sued.
yeah,
He wasn't he got off the murder charge,
I get the.
but he got sued. But
Yeah,
and you can say like, well, they still got him. Not really.
no.
He wrote a book later called "If I Did It."
I thought he admitted that he did it.
No,
Oh.
he likes to smile and say, "Well, if I did do it."
So there is an exception to that double jeopardy that Mackie might not know about, where you have a certain amount of time to appeal to a higher court.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if you end up going to the Supreme Court, then that's it. You're not appealing any further than that. But you can start. I don't remember the exact order, but like local, then yes, state, then federal, and then you can climb the courts, but it's just really expensive.
That's it. So justice is a question of money then.
Sometimes.
Question of money, or even if you have all the money in the world, like whether you have a viable case that may possibly get off later.
It's very complicated nowadays, I would say. For one, it's becoming so diluted in many aspects and spectrums: media, personal virtues, money, influences, countries, laws, and it's incredible. I think that it needs to be a little simplified so it can be more just as law or justice.
I disagree, but that's mainly because the main reason I think it's as complicated as it is because of the checks and balances we have in place.
Well, there is some truth that it's gotten more complicated. A lot of it is because people keep splitting hairs. There used to be a clear understanding of what different terms and concepts meant.
Uh-huh.
And what is the definition of is?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And consequently, what's happened over time, and this has not merely happened in law, but also in business contracts. So, for example, in the 1930s, a large contract between two major corporations. How many pages do you think that would be?
Shit. Oh, damn. 200, 300 more.
Oh, six.
Yeah.
6 pages. 6 pages.
You're halfway there.
6 pages. That was, usually about less than 10 in a lot of cases.
Because it was simple and straight to the point.
Well, yeah. Well, you said what the contract was, and you didn't have to specify the 10 million different ways in which something could not be fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
It was just understood. No, this is what it is, and anyone who comes into the middle of this and starts saying it's something else, shut up. This is what it is. But now what's happened is not only must you state what it is, you also must state what it is not. And so if I say this is a cat, I must also say it's not a dog, it's not a rat, it's not a chameleon.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not a mackerel.
Yeah, it's like the pronouns and shit.
I have to go through this long list of all the things that the contract is not, and that's why it takes up. Today, it's not unusual for these same contracts to be hundreds of pages long.
Yeah, but that's bullshit, because you know what that creates? Like strawmans, the diverting like from the real points, like the little tiny stuff that you never read on the bottom of that goddamn contract.
Yeah.
And I think it's like dishonest. It's
well, it's fine for the major. It's the reasonable man thing again, which is something that you should look into. It's a lot of fun. So, for example, let's say I'm Joe Blow. I'm just some regular guy, and I sign a contract with a major corporation, and that contract is 400 pages long.
Okay.
That contract is arguably not binding on me, even though I signed it. Unless it can be shown in a court of law that I actually knew what I was signing, which is difficult. The longer the contract gets, it becomes increasingly unreasonable for me to be aware of what I was signing. So, for example, on page 237, it says, you agree to give your soul over to Lord Lucifer in perpetuity, blah, 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 right? And you didn't read that because your eyes kind of glazed over at page 3. Now, at the same time, if a major corporation gives a 400-page contract to another major corporation, well, you have a legal department at both corporations. They've got teams of lawyers on retainer. They are, of course, going to read the contract. It is reasonable to assume that they would be able to read a 400-page contract.
Wow. There are probably 6 or 7 to do it, so yes.
Sure, absolutely. So suddenly a contract which was shaky between myself and the corporation becomes actually quite solid between two corporations. Because it becomes reasonable for them to read it, whereas it wasn't reasonable for me to read it. So that's a fun little thing there. So, for example, EULAs. Those fun little contracts we
Uh,
see all the time but never read.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you're saying that a company can be can be like accused or not accused, but you can, to your discretion, say, well, look, this Ilua as no makes no sense for a private to read because it's too many
Mhm.
conditions for.
Well, because no one reads it. That's the problem. People don't see for something to be perceived as an agreement. There has to be a reasonable understanding of what I've agreed to. So it depends on what's in the EULA. So, for example, if the EULA says something like "You're not going to steal our software" or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't read the EULA, but it would be reasonable for you to assume that is in the EULA.
Yes.
And so, on that basis, that provision of the EULA probably would stick. However, if it said on page 424, you will buy a Lamborghini for the CEO of the company in no later than 1 year after clicking accept.
Yes. I understand
That
what
would
you
that would
mean.
not be binding.
I get at what you mean, but that means that people need to be responsible of their actions and being able to admit, well, sir, pardon my French, that was my mistake. I didn't see that like that, and I'll have to abide by that now. But would you see someone be able to do that today and say, yeah, I fucked up the Elua? Even if we do, we are not. I'm myself. I'm not. Would I say to a company, "Oh yeah, I fucked up"?
What? Well, no. Well, if you got if you had some sort of civil penalty that was being pressed upon you by a company, and you sought some kind of representation, the lawyer, this is one of the first things he would tell you. He's like, so their case is there's this thing in their EULA, and these are bullshit. So what I'm going to recommend we do is we go to court, and we ask the judge to dismiss the case on the basis that the EULA is bullshit.
Yeah.
And you'd actually be surprised. A lot of
Yeah.
judges will hear that and they'll go like, "Yeah, no, I never read those things either. They're stupid."
Yep.
Case dismissed.
Okay. Yeah, that's the reasonable. Okay, I get it. Yeah, but you need to know about that before you get caught in the system, then, because
Well, it's part of American civics education, which not all people are taught, unfortunately, but it is part of our public education system, or at least it was.
well, it should be reinstored.
Well,
You know,
sir, it was never part of the. I'm not sure American civics education was part of Canadian education. I may not have gotten over there.
maybe Cuban civics education.
Maybe.
Well, when they replaced religion with how was it called? What the name of this course was really funny. I said to my mom, "Oh my God, mom, they're starting their brainwash on us," and she laughed. She said, "Do you want to go at it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm curious. I want to go." And it was like everything about life as a social in a socialist way. I remember I used to show this my father. My father used to laugh, and he said to my mom, "And you didn't want to go to Russia? It's the same. It's the same."
Well,
And
it's
he was
not.
laughing.
It's
Well,
not.
Canada, Montreal. It really is
Is it?
social. Yeah, it is because like the
I,
issue.
I, I don't. I wouldn't put Trudeau in the same category as Putin. I think that's unfair.
No, because
I
Putin.
despise Trudeau, but I think it'd be unfair to say that of him.
No, but Putin is less of a problem than Trudeau because
I'm not sure.
yes, and I'll say why. Because when Putin came into power and his inaugural speech, one of the things that he said that struck me and my dad, that it struck us so badly that we called each other and we said to each other, "Did he just pull an Alex Jones?" Because he
What?
said, yeah, he said something really weird when he got elected the first time
Oh,
when
you
he
don't
came in.
remember what it is though?
Yeah. He said about the system being corrupted and the globalist system was trying to destroy the free men and that they were trying to take over everyone and he would never let them take over Russia. And I said, my dad, is that a like like a wake up call, or is he trying to say something to the rest of the world?
It's repackaged Russian nationalism. I mean, keep in mind, from the perspective of Russia, the American net that it is, containment net it's placed around Russia, could be described as globalism in a sense.
But
And
that's
we,
not what he was talking about. He was
I,
talking about
mm,
the economy. No, no, no. And he was very, very clear in his speech. He was talking not about the army, and he was not talking about anything about military or stuff like that. He
no,
was he
that's not
was
what I'm
talk
talking about.
he
You
was
misunderstand me, sir.
okay, okay. Go ahead.
The net the United States places is principally one of diplomacy and then economics. So no, we absolutely, that's an element. So for example, you're familiar with the term the free world, right?
Yeah.
And the first world. So during the Cold War, we led a League of Nations that we called the First World, and the Russians, anyone allied with them, that was the Second World.
Hmm.
And the notion was that when you joined the First World, you got free trade. Now, free trade did not mean free trade. What it meant was trade with the First World.
Mm.
You also got freedom,
Yeah.
which and you got the arsenal of freedom would protect you as well. It's like allying with Coca-Cola, and they start slapping all their shit all over everything, and telling you about how refreshing and cool it is. Um, Alliance with the United States meant everything had like a freedom tag on it.
Hmm.
And so to Russia, what this looked like was there was this network of economic and political alliances around them that were very deliberately engineered to lock the Soviet Union out. They
Yeah.
were not able to trade, they were not able to interact productively, and that was intentional.
Hmm. But I mean, after the USSR fell, the system in Russia was pretty much like gangster. It was gangs. It was mafia. It was very poor, and I mean, no one deserves to die poor like that. When vodka is easier to drink than water.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you think about the Slavs and Russia, I don't think that society can you can like starve someone because you want to change them when they are in their right to be as they are where in
Well,
Russia.
I'm not saying it's good to starve somebody, but you have to appreciate that it was all as an alternative to thermonuclear war.
No, I agree with that, and I know that Russia did its dude. I was in ex-Yugoslavia. Fuck it, Russia. Communism is the worst shit ever. But the ideology of someone never changing because they were once a, a way, and the perspectives of what is happening at the moment, and I'm reading and I'm seeing his speeches, and I know that the
Well,
guy, he is not so confident that people think. And I don't think that Russia is interested in war. What Russia really would want is peace and interaction between the US and Russia in
well,
a
they
fair
can have
way.
it. They can have it, but there's going to be a price for this, and it's not a price that I think Russia will pay.
No,
And that is that Russia is going to have to ethically and politically reform.
they won't.
Well, then that's unfortunate because then you're asking me to compromise
Well, they no, they
and
can't.
I'm not
They
going to do that.
Yeah, but they won't either. That's the ideology of being Russian. That's the
Well,
thing is that there's a
well,
lot
you
of
just said
people.
you just wait a minute. You just told me that people can change, and now you're telling me they can't.
Yeah, they can, but I don't
Well,
think that they can change their fundamental ideology. They can
well,
change the way that they see and do things, but I don't think that you can change the core of a people and the pride of being a certain way.
I'm
The
not.
Slav are very goddamn patriotic with that shit. So I
That's
mean,
that's fine, but here's the problem. Okay, so Russia wants to be a great power. They've wanted to be a great power for the last, oh, 200 and maybe 300 years.
You know what? I'm not sure about that. Not at
I
the moment. Not really right now. If you go
I
read what is going on right now, I think he just wants less tensions because he knows that it's dangerous right now. And he did a lot of things for Russia to become what it is right now. It was really poor when he got into power. You have to understand that that man is defending his own and he's seeing things happen around him and he is scared. China is fucking dangerous right now. If they see that Russia and the U.S. are turning against them, they're gonna nuke everyone, or they're gonna at least try it.
well, yeah, but we're not going to give them that war.
No,
The So what Russia wants initially is they wish to be the preeminent power in their region. They want to
yep,
have a powerful influence in Ukraine and the other nations that they border.
no, they want what's
Um,
theirs. Crimea is theirs forever. That's that. It's 99. It's 90% Russian. That was an Obama fiasco. That was Obama trying to push Russia towards China to create a war.
well, okay. So, in fairness, you do appreciate that it wasn't Obama that gave Crimea to Ukraine.
No,
That was it Stalin, or was it one of
it
the
was
later?
before. No, no, it was before that.
No,
Crimea
no, no,
was
no, 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 no. That it belonged to Ukraine. It was during the Soviet Union. It was added. The Crimea was added to the Ukrainian province. And then when the Soviet bloc broke up, it broke along the lines of its old basically its provinces. Its provinces broke into countries. So that was and so that's Gorbachev.
I know, but what I'm saying,
Well, it's not
if you
Obama.
if you go there, okay, in
I understand what
Crimea,
you're saying.
it's all Russians.
I I understand what you're saying, but that's
Uh,
not Obama.
No, okay. Well, they
He
say
didn't.
that
He
it's
did.
Obama.
Well, you can say it's Mickey Mouse, but
Yeah, but
the
they say that
but
Obama pushed a lot of our politics on Russia and it was just to create a war.
mm, so there's this. So look, if let's say you take Crimea, let's say I let you have that.
Hmm.
Okay, is that the end?
No,
Well, of
no,
course.
I'm not saying I listen. Okay,
Well,
I'm not
then I'm
saying
not. Then why am I going to yield when all you're going to do is you're going to keep taking
because
issues
you're
here?
in fucking USA. You have nothing to do with my business at my home in my garden. If you want
Okay.
me to go in Alaska,
Well, the
buy
Ukrainians. Wait a minute. Well, the Ukrainians do, and the
well,
Polish
the
do.
Ukrainians
There's
do.
a whole bunch of countries out there that are begging for help, and
Well, man,
I'm being asked to close my ears and let
no,
them die in the darkness.
no. But be fair.
I
Like
am being fair.
the thing is with Russia, I understand their ideology is that if you give an inch, you lose 2 meters. So they
Yeah.
want to take 2 meters to be able to lose that 2 inches. But they are not leaning towards the same ideologies as the Western world. I understand that, okay? And at that moment, I think it was pressures on Russia to push them towards China more. That's my
Well,
point. Okay, even if
I
it's not Obama.
I understand what you're saying. Here's the thing. It's a big ask
Mm.
to ask the United States to back off.
I know.
And the thing is, you're going to have to give me something for that. If you
Yeah.
want that, you're going to have to give me something. And currently, what I'm seeing from the Russians is nothing. So if you give me nothing, I'm going to burn you down.
I know that's the issue with
Well,
listen, the issue with what's going on between Russia and the US is that can can Trump go and talk to Putin without creating a fiasco?
he doesn't need to.
Uh,
Here's the thing. Um, this is something we learned in the Cold War, and it's something that a lot of people have forgotten. We learned how to deal with Russian culture, and it's realpolitik. Are you familiar with this?
yeah.
So it's negotiate from a position of strength, which is to say, I'm not going to go and talk to you unless I have something you want, until I have enough cards in my hand that I can negotiate from a superior position. And then from that position, well, then I can be fair. But here's the thing: if I walk over to Russia with anything less than that advantage, they're not going to be fair with me.
No.
So I'm not having that conversation at all.
No,
I mean, I will smile, I
Yeah.
will say empty words, but what I'm actually interested in doing is getting the leverage so that I can actually have a reasonable discussion with Vladimir Putin. Because short of that leverage, he's not going to be reasonable with me.
Nope.
And if there's a moment of weakness anywhere in my operation,
forget it.
and he perceives an ability to, say, charge some tanks across some border somewhere and take something, well, he's going to do it, because the Russians have a long history of audacity. It's one of their many strengths. It's an admirable quality. They're very brave, and they're not stupid brave. That's another thing. They are cunning brave.
Exactly what you just
very
said.
Dangerous.
Exactly what you just said, though. I've been reading in the last 3 months about what's going on between China and Russia, in army and state and stuff. China invaded invaded a small town that is Russian, and Russia didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Why?
Very unlike Russia.
Very even fucking like Russia. I personally, I was like, I was looking. I called my father and I asked him, "Did you read something about it?" He's like,
Yeah.
"No."
Well, it's the salami slice thing that China's been doing. They're doing it everywhere. Yeah. So, you want to talk bad things Obama did. Obama let the Chinese take the South China Sea.
Yep.
That's what I put at his feet.
That base that they created in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Well, they
you
told
mean the island.
Yeah.
They told a series of very stupid lies, and he believed them because he's gullible.
He's a globalist. He's like
Trudeau.
Trudeau.
He's gullible.
I think he's in the same gang as Trudeau, as Macron, as Merkel. They're all part of a globalist gang that they want to submit everyone to their bidding.
Keep in mind that you can be a globalist without necessarily being a supporter of Barack Obama's foreign policy. The United States, throughout much of its foreign policy during the Cold War, was ultimately running a globalist operation. That was what the First World literally was.
Yeah, but Trudeau is like example.
I'm not defending Justin goddamn Trudeau. I'm not. Fidel Castro's son is getting no support from me, sir.
Oh, I know that, but I'm not talking about policies. It's not important the policies they represent. It's the goal in the end that they want to achieve. It's total control over the economy of the world. Whatever they need to do, they will. It's like the Democrats are doing in the U.S. right now. It's double think all the way. It's accusing everyone of everything they do themselves.
Wait, you mean like this latest update in the Pelosi story?
Yeah, exactly.
Setup was like this. I was pulled into the salon by two white men wearing red MAGA hats. They forced my head back in a sink and poured water on my top of my head while screaming, "This is MAGA country."
Isn't she Italian? Like the
Pelosi?
Yeah, Pelosi is.
Perhaps.
The name sounds it.
I mean, her family's been in San Francisco for some time. But
yeah, the picture with she has one heck of a pair. Like she's like yeah, when she was young, she was kind of cute. There's a picture of her with JFK. Really?
Do you know who was also cute back in the day? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You think I'm kidding? Look her up when she was young. She looked okay.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm gonna try it.
Of course, now she does.
I misspelled it.
She does actually look like the Crypt Keeper now, but I mean,
oh my god,
there's been some years, so say we all. Huh?
Mm-hmm. But I agree with what you're saying about Russia. It's just
you mean back in like 1953, she looked all right.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my god. I agree with you with Russia. It's just that I want to exterminate the ideology of China. The CCP, not Chinese, but the CCP needs to go.
Well, we don't want to compound our error. See, we made a mistake in not taking China especially seriously, and we let them them grow up into what they are. I'd like to not repeat that mistake by letting the Russians pull
Nope.
the same trick on us
Nope.
whilst we're dealing with the Chinese. So frankly, I'm not a big Russia fan. I mean, I don't want to be hostile with Russia. Don't get me wrong. I don't have any particular animosity against Vladimir Putin and the Russian state, but I also don't trust him farther than I can throw him.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not saying that I do. I'm just saying that rather than having them as an enemy, we should have them as a neutral and an exchange point with very restrict laws and no universities of thoughts and no like stuff like that.
I
Keep
don't
your
see why
Well,
we can't
so
help each other against China, honestly. They're
that
scared
well,
of China. We don't want China subverting us.
no.
well, what's the U.S. bargaining? We'll see. Okay, so what I would then need is I'd need cards. I'm not walking into that room
No.
without a lot of things that Putin wants, and I also have to be. He has to know, and I have to be comfortable walking out of that room without giving him anything. Because
China has to
if he
fuck up
feels
really bad.
this is one of the big mistakes that uh, Obama made when he negotiated with Putin was he went right in the door and he said, Vlad, there's a whole bunch of stuff I really want very, very badly, and I'll
Yeah.
do almost anything to get it. And Vlad said, oh, Riri.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and so then Vlad made a point of making the United States pay to the nose for basically nothing.
Mhm.
I don't like making deals like that. So if I am to make a deal with Vladimir Putin, I would like to trade as little as possible for as much as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's typically what you want to go for, unless you're Obama.
Or an idiot, yes.
Yeah, or an
Well, I
idiot.
mean,
Yeah, I know.
Or there's
Yes,
something
that's
that,
the point.
or there's some way that you're doing something really bad under cover of that. It's like the Belt and Road that the Chinese built, going into countries, building stuff, and saying, yeah, we're gonna finance you, no problem. When they go
Mhm.
bankrupt, they take everything, even the land.
Well, so okay, so one of the things that's happening in that's threatening to him is what's happening in, I believe, Belarus.
Yep.
So China is doing its Belt and Road initiative in Belarus,
Hmm.
and is subjecting Belarus to infrastructure debt traps,
Yeah.
where they give Belarus billions of dollars to build roads and rail and airports and so on, and Belarus is obliged to pay back these loans at
Yeah, but the guy
frequently
that's
not very
there,
good interest rates. And if they don't pay it back, there's a clause in the contract
yeah.
that says that China owns certain things in Belarus, and principally what would occur is that Russia would be, by these contracts, would be locked out of
Hmm.
Belarus, and
Yeah.
it would become a Chinese beachhead that the Russians wouldn't have any particular place in. Now, I suspect that Vlad would like to not get locked out of Belarus,
He doesn't
but
want to even go there.
here's the thing: what's my motivation as an inheritor of the first world to assist Vladimir?
None. The thing is, I think that China needs to fuck up something towards Russia to the point that Russia needs to go to the US and say, okay, listen, we got to get rid of this.
Yeah, well, I agree, and so that's what has to happen. Is Russia has to want
Yep.
has to want whatever it is bad enough to be
Hmm.
reasonable.
Yep.
And short of that, I really can't. I'm sorry. I'd like to
No,
negotiate with the guy, if we could be reasonable. But
no,
my understanding is that he won't be.
no, he won't. And the thing is, that's the arrogance of the Slavic people. They won't. It's like it. The best thing I saw when I was young is like a Muslim Islamic vendor trying
Mhm.
to bargain a Russian guy.
Yeah. Well, so here's something to look into. You're doing this thing on Machiavelli. Have you
Mhm.
looked into the Byzantines at all?
A little bit, but it becomes like so interesting, and there's so many things to read about it. Like I get like lost into all of it. So I've concentrated for many years on every kind of, because it was translated from Old Italian to Old English.
Mm.
So I'm good at understanding the meaning of sentences in Old English for a goddamn reason. I don't know
Mm.
why, but I am able to translate them. And from whom to thee thou shall hold. Uh, it gets kind of weird, the words that they use, and I'm really concentrated on the prince because it's fundamentally all you need to know to run a country. Like Trump is actually doing a chapter 9 on the Democrats, meaning that he started as a Democrat, he went in the system and saw that it didn't work for him, went out, came back as a Republican, but pushed by the people. You know, when Hillary Clinton called the people of the US the deplorables,
Well, people weren't going to vote for her, but yeah.
well, no, but since it's like she kind of said the good thing for him to use that as a push. You see, like,
Oh, well, I mean, it was a very politically stupid thing for her to say.
yeah, you don't put the people against you.
No, well, you look. You want to. It's a popularity
Yeah,
contest. So acting like a horrible harpy is not in your
no.
interest. The something which you might enjoy. You're looking into the old Italian city-states.
Hmm.
I'd suggest looking into Venice
Yeah.
and their interactions with the Byzantines, because that might give you some interesting insight into what I think might actually be a cultural thread out of the Orthodox world for some time. The Venetians had very much the same, um, and quite a few of the Christian kings in the West had a very similar relationship with the Byzantines that we have today with the Russians. It's very hard to have lasting relationships. There was a lot of treachery.
Bro,
There was a lot of unreasonableness.
oh my god. You can't trust Russians. My dad told me once, if you see a Russian smile, run.
Yeah.
Don't fucking look at him back. He's probably gonna. You're already probably dead. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, which is why I'm not going to give.
no, you don't. I'm
I'm
not
not going to turn
saying.
my fucking back on Vlad. I mean, I'm
No,
not going to do that. That's
no,
insane.
because he's gonna fucking kill you. But the thing
Yeah.
is, we have to try. Like they always say, you need a big event to make shit change, or like the World Trade Center. Let's get into the deep shit. But it's really about that. You only can change an ideology like that by a, a big event. So China needs to keep fucking up as they're doing right now. But I
They
think
are.
that they are at the moment, and they will, because with the temperature that they're having at the moment, they have no choice.
Well, they could stop. That would be very smart for them to stop. If they
Um,
stopped, um, they could start undoing a lot of the damage that they've done. But unfortunately, they have a similar problem of doubling down on stupid. Uh,
yeah, but
the,
that's
the
the ideology of the communist, of real Marxism. Communist is,
this is no, this is Chinese. The
well,
Chinese
they
have been this
invented
way for
Marxism.
thousands of years.
Yeah, but
Chinese have been like,
yeah,
yeah.
but that's it. The mentality of socialism and communistic and Marxism comes from Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu
Mm.
was the one that created the ideology of subversion and creating the dumb for the dumb. That's all Chinese. That's what I'm saying from the start. They are the bright little one that everyone underestimated, and they're like, we're gonna give him all
They've been
the bad.
going pee-pee in our Coke for
Yep.
too long.
Well, sure. But the thing is that China used to be incredibly wealthy and incredibly sophisticated. Um,
Before.
well, at one point in time when a lot of people were not,
Hmm.
and they had that incredible advantage, and they through their arrogance, they pissed it all away. Which
Yeah.
is, there's no fault on them as an ethnicity or anything of that matter, but it is a fault of their aristocracy
Yep.
that when they encountered things that were beyond their normal understanding, instead of making an effort to incorporate that into their worldview so that they could make reasonable decisions to guide their empire into the future.
But I think that comes from
They
being,
closed their eyes and went la 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 la
yeah,
la la
exactly.
la.
But they're lazy, huh?
Oh no, I'm not saying they're lazy. The Chinese are very hard.
Not as workers, but as contractors and as statesmen. They will delegate to people. They will say, example, I have a contract that is worth 500 million. Well, I'm gonna find someone that can do it for like that, and for half, and I'm gonna get rid of it. And you understand what I mean? Like
We actually talked about a group of hitmen that did that in China.
Oh yeah, they did that with It Man. I find that funny because they do that with business too. So to do it with the It Man thing, I was like, It got to the point that no one wanted to kill the guy. It was like for $1,000, like a hobo.
You run into that with unhappy wives now and again. It's really pretty funny. You'll have some woman in a relationship. She's unhappy about it, and she'll go into the seediest biker bar she can find, and walk up to some stereotypical thug, and she'll say, "I will suck your dick and give you $1,000 if you kill my husband." And so what he does is he lets her suck his dick. He takes $1,000 and then he goes over to the police station. He says, "Yeah, hi, I'm Frank. I'm an accountant, and I was at the local biker bar. I like to hang out over there. I like to ride my bike, and some crazy woman, came in and tried to get me to kill her husband." And then the cops were like, "Oh, really?" And he's just like, "Yeah. So if you want to put a wire on me, I can go and talk to her again, and she can tell me about this whole thing." And so he goes over. He's got the wire on him, and goes over to talk to her. And she says, "What? Do you want me to suck your dick again?" And he's like, "Well, okay." And so she sucks his dick. She sucks his dick again. And then he says, "So just to be clear, you're sucking my dick, so that I'll kill your husband, right?" And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, I'm just making that clear between us. All right, you have a fantastic day. He walks out the door, tosses the recording equipment at the 1-800-Flowers van where the cops are, and goes to get a hamburger. And it's that's how it goes down almost every single time, because $1,000 is not enough to kill a man. You got to offer somebody some real money, and if you're too cheap, too poor to do that, you got to do it yourself. You got to do it yourself. I'm very sorry if you don't like to get your hands dirty, but this is a note to anyone out there who's thinking about murdering somebody: do it yourself. And when you do it, don't tell anybody. Nope. And when the body's dead, here's the next thing: no one can find the body. Okay? No one can ever find the body. If anyone ever finds the body, they know somebody got killed. If they never find the body, it's a missing person.
There's a saying.
You don't even have a homicide cops in there necessarily.
I would like to state that the Weekly Aneurysm does not endorse murder.
No, I'm just saying, hypothetically, were you to, be a murderer, be competent. Okay? You're embarrassing the rest of us. Okay?
The fact of the matter is like you cannot pay for someone to do your dirty deeds in the perspective that men still have a fundamental morality, and even amongst thugs and the base of society, they have a certain code of honor.
You give me $1 million, you give the scum of the earth $1 million, they're going to give that guy a Colombian necktie. Yeah. It is. You're just not offering enough money. It's like if you ask a guy to paint your house for $10, it ain't gonna fucking happen.
He might paint a single board.
He might piss on your house, and
he's not. Yeah, exactly. He's not even gonna piss on you. It's $10. He's just gonna walk away. Fuck off. That's that amount of money. You offer somebody to so $6,000, $10,000, something like that to kill someone. That's not enough money. Because think about it's not. Maybe.
No, I'm laughing at Vegeta.
Maybe in 1930 that might have been enough money. Mm-hmm. That might have been enough money in 1930. In 2020, no, you're up around 60,000, 80,000 minimum to get that to happen. You offer. Well, think about the risk, right?
How do you think that the Clintons pay for a body?
Well, if we're presuming as a hypothetical that
nothing.
I'm not suggesting.
I'm not either.
Clinton hit squad that we're suggesting that you guys exist. I'm just saying hypothetically, if you did,
It's got to be.
that would be probably an in-house operation
Yeah,
that
probably.
is on retainer.
Yeah.
That would be a long-standing group of people that were working for you, and they would also have to have other jobs. So they'd be investigators. They'd be dirty tricks men. They'd be the ones planting evidence. They'd be the ones breaking into houses and rifling through papers, that kind of stuff. And then every once in a while, so this guy would have to be drawing his paycheck every year from the Clinton Foundation or whomever, right?
Yeah, but
And
wait. The last person that got killed regarding Epstein, that judge. Well, no, they killed her husband or her son, I think. The guy committed suicide after that, but
Oh, the judge, yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's
I've been told that wasn't even actually the killer.
Huh?
I didn't look that deeply into it, but I've been told that actually wasn't even the killer.
Wow. Okay.
So who knows?
But if you wanted to find who the Clinton button men were, what you would do is you would look for people that are on their obvious payroll. People that are just there all the time. They're not going to be in the shadows. They're going to be right out there in front, and they're going to have other job titles. And they may not even look like formidable people. Like, you might look for a guy and say, "Oh, is he athletic or something?" How athletic do you have to be to come up behind somebody with a pistol and blow the back of their brains out, right?
You know what's fishy with
it could be some bald guy in his 60s.
I don't think that the Clinton have friends. I think that they all have people under certain circumstances that they have something against them that they hold against them as a bribe. I don't think that no one works willingly for them when they are.
Well, I don't think that's true, because they have too much cooperation for all to be coercion, and that's not how. So look at Machiavelli, right? Did Machiavelli say that the aristocracy would only use the rod, or that they would also use the carrot?
No, but he said you better be feared than loved. So by that meaning and that logic, if you're loved and you're respected, you're going to be abused and killed in your back. When you're feared and people are scared of you and shitless scared, like they are scared of the Clintons, you are not tempted to go after them, and you fear them and you stay away.
I'm not saying don't be scary.
Yeah, but that's not only be scary, it's an oppressive scary. Because it's alienating what the Clintons have done. Because you have one side that say that they are rapists and she eats babies, and one side that says that she should have been the president. There's no middle, really.
So I think what Will's getting at, and I kind of have to agree. What they probably do to get these people working under them is they're like, "Hey, how about you come work for the Clintons and we'll give you a lot of money." And then when they're like, I don't really feel comfortable with what you're asking me to do, they're like, be a shame if something happened to your wife. That's like a blatantly like cut down, too long didn't read version of it. But
yeah. I'm not
like they probably do have a fair amount of people who are like, yeah, I'll do whatever for that money.
Well, it's also position. So, there's money is one thing. What about getting appointed, getting the new job? So let's say you're working your way up the ranks of the FBI or some other government institution. Maybe you're a journalist, whatever, in a corporation, and the Clintons know somebody above you who can open a door for you to get that promotion that you've wanted, that maybe you'll never get. Maybe you'll have to wait another 10 years to get it. But you know what? If you do this one thing for me, I'll see to it that you get this promotion.
Yeah, but
you do the thing.
So much power, man, and they're
you do the thing, and then you get the promotion. Ooh, that's interesting. That happened. But see, now they've got something on you. You probably did something for them, and that thing. It's you see this with the mafia or whatever criminal organization. The first thing you do to help them, sometimes it isn't even actually something they want or need.
Nope.
What it actually is they're asking you to make the chains by which they will bind you.
Yeah, it's like a drug.
Do something, not because I need it, but because once you've done it, and I've got the evidence that you did it, I will own you forever.
Yep, that's how the Clintons work. I'm pretty sure.
Well, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, a lot, but I mean to a lot of levels as well. Because like it's like Machiavelli says, it's better be feared than loved, but you can still be loved. It's not because he says that you shouldn't be loved at all. That's not what he's saying. That's when people say, well, that's an obsolete statement. No, Jesus Christ. Machiavelli was a realist, so you have to stay in reality and apply each.
Well, that's why I'm applying this to the Russians.
Yeah,
like,
and I understand.
I don't want to interact with Vlad unless he has a respect for my ability to hurt him.
Oh, misspoke or misexplained what I meant. We need to turn the subversion toward Russia and make them want to help us get rid of China.
Well, I think that's happening with Belarus. I think that the Chinese are pressing on the Russian border in a variety of places.
Yep.
And in the meantime, I really don't know what else to do.
We can't do shit. We just have to keep
We're just waiting.
We have yep.
And that's the U.S.'s game in this. You're talking about, if Russia feels desperate, they're going to fire their nukes in all directions.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what we wanted to avoid during the Cold War. So, our game in that period was to squeeze Russia, but not so hard that they would fire the nukes.
But I don't think that China
enough
can.
That we would debilitate them, and that they'd slowly, go from 2 legs down to 1 knee, down to all 4s, and then pass out.
Listen, let's be honest, okay? Example, shit hits the fan. China decides to go to war with India, uses a tactical nuke on one of the biggest.
They won't do that.
No, I know, but in the worst fucking Tom Clancy possibilities, that nuke won't even hit India. It will be intercepted before it even gets out of the.
I'd like to think so.
It won't.
But I can't promise that.
I can't say 100% sure that the aircraft carriers are able to take out a nuke, but you have 3 aircraft carriers right there.
Look, I mean, everyone's going to try, but ICBMs are difficult to drop, and the Chinese have been doing what they can to make their ICBMs more difficult to intercept.
Yeah, but they've been having the CCP within itself is having a lot of hard time with their citizens because obviously when you suppress everyone and gulag for an opinion, it starts to be. And Hong Kong was a really hard hit on people because even people outside of Hong Kong felt like Hong Kong was the place to go to be free from the system,
Well,
and now they don't have that.
It's moving beyond China and coming to the first world. You guys seen this little clip from Australia?
I'm not sure.
It's 2 minutes long, and I know you've seen it, Will.
Have I?
You can show me your search warrant before you go through my house.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I own this house.
There it is. There's a search warrant.
Search warrant for what?
Now, what I will explain to you is if you want to listen, you got your phone going.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right. Now, you're under arrest in relation to incitement.
Incitement?
Yeah. Now, you're not obliged to say or do anything, but anything you say or do may be given evidence.
Excuse me, incitement for what? What on earth? Excuse me, what on earth?
Just put your phone down.
Can you
record
this? I'm in my pajamas.
What's
I have
this?
an ultrasound in an hour.
Yeah, she's pregnant, so what's this about?
I have an ultrasound
Just let me
in an
finish.
hour.
Let me finish and I'll explain. It's in relation to a Facebook post, in relation to a lockdown protest.
Fucking Facebook post.
Yeah, and I wasn't breaking any laws by doing
You
that.
are actually.
Yep, she got arrested for a Facebook post.
In front
How
of
can
my
you arrest
children,
her?
in
That's-
front of my 2 children.
Well, that's
Just say to her, take the post down. Come on.
perhaps that's Australian law.
Yep. It is now. It
You
is
know,
in Canada
Will-
too.
Well, I
I
think
think
it
you
has
had
been
the
for a
best
lot longer than
response.
you perhaps are willing to acknowledge. I think this has always been something that's been lurking in your system because you don't actually have a right to speak. It doesn't say the government shall pass no law, right?
Yeah,
It
but the government
it
is
literally
not
doesn't.
there. Is there to protect you, not to impose laws on your speech.
Well, you might want to read the Canadian law then, because I don't
No,
think that's actually what it says.
not for me, but it's supposed to be like
Well, says who?
the U.S. You
Ah,
have
well,
Wait,
nobody
what?
cares what we think, sir.
I
Yeah.
know, I know, I
Every
know.
single time we talk about freedom and so on, everybody says, "Shut up, America! Everybody's free."
No,
And we're
I'm
like,
not
"Okay,
like
fine."
I've always been for the first.
I'm not
For,
accusing you.
no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, and I'm defending the U.S. a lot on
Yeah.
Twitter with idiots that say that it's the world fucking worst country in the world, and I'm like, where are you from? Tell me that. From Australia, mate, and I'm like, oh fucking god.
And now
Yeah.
you can say, "Oh yeah, what about that pregnant lady that got arrested for
Well,
protest?"
one of the things that's really funny is Americans are criticized frequently for their worship of their founding
Guns.
documents and so on, which it shouldn't literally be worship, and maybe it trends in that direction. But I'll tell you one thing.
Nationalism.
I'll tell you one thing that we do have. We are aware of what our law says. And that's a great deal more than I think that most of the people that criticize us can say of themselves. If you
Mhm.
ask the average German, you ask the average French person, you ask the average Canadian or Australian to cite chapter and verse out of at least give me the principal laws of your country, the core ethics that inform the rest of the system. I think you could put a gun against their head,
They won't.
cock the hammer, and say, if you can't give me anything, I'm just going to blow your brains out. They'd get their brains blown out because they literally don't know. They have no idea they have no interest in it. They have a presumption of what it says,
Mhm.
but they haven't read it. And I actually have read them, and it's actually fascinating. So have you ever read the Soviet basically the Soviet Bill of Rights? It's a Charter of Human Rights or whatever the hell it's called. Have you ever
That
read that?
exists. No,
Oh yes, and it's extensive. They have Soviet citizens had an
Oh my god.
enormous number of rights,
No.
an enormous. Oh yeah, no, freedom of association and speech and belief, right of redress. I mean, all kinds of due process. They were guaranteed all kinds of things. Right to self-defense, yes,
Yeah,
but but the way it
yeah,
was
but
written was after every single provision, it said, unless a government official decides that you don't have
otherwise.
this.
Yep.
Yeah, every single time. Now, in the U.S. version of the same, it says, Congress shall make no law.
Mm.
Now, that's not saying some arbitrary jackhole can deny you due process or strip your rights from you on his whim. What it's saying is not only can he not do that, but in fact, the supreme lawmaking body of the country cannot do it without going to a constitutional amendment level, which requires a 75% consensus
Yep.
of both houses at the
Mhm.
same time to
Mhm.
pass the same words.
Yep.
Now, good luck getting any limitation on free speech past 75% of both chambers of the U.S. legislature.
Like
It's not going to happen.
hate speech is not really in the law.
No, it's not. And
It's not.
no, it's not. No, it's not in the law at all. No.
So, Will, I actually thought you had the best response when I first shared that in your Discord.
Yeah.
It was remember when everyone was saying, "Oh, all the first world has free speech."
Right.
I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's that scene from the network. I don't know if you've seen that. It was a movie, a television show. It was a mini series, whatever the hell it was. And there's Jeff Daniels is playing some kind of media personality, and there's some bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young woman who asks a question from the audience of the dour older men that are wise in the ways of the world. And she says, in what ways is the United States a great country? She asks, with a little spark in her step. And Jeff Daniels says, well, we're not a great country. And all these other countries have everything we have. He's like, freedom? Every country has freedom. Japan has freedom. France has freedom, and so on. And it's like, Jeff, no, you haven't read anything. You don't know anything. And if you read, let's say, the Belgian Constitution, you read the Australian legal code, it says they can arbitrarily limit these rights basically on whim.
There was always a commissar.
It was always there.
There in Croatia. I remember my father telling me about the commissar, someone that was commissar that was like appointed to decide. It was like a judge.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like Bob that works at well, normally they didn't work and they were like a lot greedier than everyone, and it was the guy that you wanted to avoid in the city. But anyways, you had something to settle, you went to bribe him, you had the biggest amount or the daughter to sell or whatever, you would win the argument. If not, gulag.
Yeah,
that's sad, but that's how it is.
That's what it is. And now the extreme of that, the pendulum swing that I will say, that always say that it goes from really extreme to the other extreme. Well, they're extreme right in Croatia, and 99% extreme right.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Fuck liberalism. They know they just kick like 25 Ks of Islamic refugees.
That's not liberalism.
No,
liberalism is, I mean, not its original understanding.
No, that's not. No, liberalism was the ideology that maybe like the union wanted to implant in Croatia, but it didn't stick. It doesn't work, and they see that.
Well, no, their version of it. Look, the European Union they're not. That's not really liberalism.
No, it's communism.
Yeah, there's other things going on there. Yeah, because if you were looking at what liberalism was in its original connotation,
it's not that.
It would be unrecognizable to what.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It's not the same thing.
You can say the same for America too.
Yeah.
Well,
liberalism in
a lot of our stuff is encoded in our Constitution. So in fact, it prevents this Overton window slide to a certain extent. That's why they despise the Constitution to the extent they do. It's frustrating their ability to change things.
But liberalism in its sense, okay, Socrates and Plato talked about this, is a very, very dangerous ideology to have as a society, because it enables a unrealistic thinking tank, if you want. Because to be very, very liberal, you have to go with feeling more than logic. And
well, that's not English philosophy though. What I correct me if I'm wrong. The libertine philosophy is more what you're talking about. Yeah, which was keep in mind that's a French thing. That's not an English thing. And the successful liberal democracies were initially cut more out of the mold of the English school. It's all that John Locke stuff.
Yeah, but I think that the bad spots that liberalism has comes from the French Revolution side, because there was an influence. There was when the U.S. had their war with the 13 colonies and England and everything happened, the French came and tried to start the same revolution as started in France, and they were kicked out. Because it fucked up in France. It destroyed everything. And Washington and the founding fathers said, no thanks. We're gonna keep Lafayette, but those ideas, we don't want to work with those. They're restrictive.
The revolution I guess I'm confused. The revolution was over before the revolution in France. The American
Yeah.
Revolution predated the French Revolution.
You
Did-
sure?
Yes.
Because then I'm pretty sure the founding fathers would have been considered classical liberals.
Yeah. Well, the founding fathers were horrified at what was happening in France.
Yeah, but it failed in France before the U.S. finished.
Mm,
Wait, let me
I
see.
need to double check
I
on
don't.
that.
I don't think that's true.
French Revolution and
Keep in
Civil
mind, the
War.
American Revolution doesn't go to 1812. There was a lull in between.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really all last
That was
long
that
compared
was
to everything else. But I think that's because the British government was pretty well thinned out. Like the British forces, because they'd just finished with the French Indian War and all that shit.
well,
I don't
yeah.
think they had time to recover.
Well, they were concerned by what the British have always been concerned about, which is invasion from the mainland, and they didn't want to send a lot of their forces
Did
to
you
the
understand what you
colonies.
just said about England? They were afraid of invasion when they invaded everyone.
It's true, but that's how they prevented themselves from being invaded. You're
No.
familiar with British? Oh, you think I'm kidding?
No,
Right,
I know.
So I just looked it up. The French Revolution ended in 1799. The American Revolution ended in 1783.
Okay.
Yep. No, the American founding fathers were watching what was happening in. Keep in mind, after the American Revolution, Benjamin Franklin went to France as a diplomat to the French aristocracy.
No, but there's something after the French Revolution that
Well, of
certain
course.
of them came back to the U.S. trying to start up shit again, and it failed. But
It's possible.
I'm trying to find it
But
again.
my point is that it's not like the French spread the revolution to the Americas, which is what the American Revolution was. Our revolution preceded the French Revolution.
Sorry.
And in fact, I would say, if anything, it was the other way around. What happened was the French saw the success of the American Revolution, and they thought, oh well, we can implement that here. The problem was they weren't really paying attention, because one of the things that bound the American colonies together, which the French in the revolutionary phase didn't understand, was reasonableness. The French fundamentally didn't understand reasonableness.
I got what I think I misunderstood something, but I know why I said that now. Because like I was wondering why I was referring as the French as the failed revolution that came from the American one, but it's not. It's because that I missaid or misthought about it, but it's about this sentence. That's what made the French Revolution and the ideology what they were doing in France fail in the end. And I think that's something that they wanted to portray in America was to push Marxism on America, and it got really rejected after it failed in France.
Jacobin or Jacobin?
Jacobin.
The Jacobin cause was picked up by Marxists in the mid-19th century and became an element of communist thought around the world. In the Soviet Union, Gracchus Babiev was regarded as a hero.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's the French philosophy that ultimately got intertwined with the German philosophy, and the German philosophy also got intertwined with Hermeticism. Hilariously, I don't know if you've looked into Hegel at all, but if you ever look at Hegel, he makes no sense. And the reason he makes no sense is because it literally isn't philosophy.
It's sophism.
Well, it's mysticism, actually.
Ooh.
It's so are you familiar with Hermeticism? The sort of it's kind of a quasi religion.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name a little bit.
Yeah,
I've heard about it.
Supposedly, it goes back to Egypt and possibly older. I don't know, but there've been books written in that line since the Middle Ages, at the very least, and it's a lot of finger twiddling. You know, it's a lot of woo woo, and and Hegel read a crap load of that stuff.
Can't
And
hear his name without thinking of Kegel.
yeah, and he basically rephrased a lot of it, and that's also when you talk to Marxists, you see that whole crazy thing where they start playing with definitions.
Oh
they
my
start,
God.
They start saying that something is nothing.
Did you see
and
Vosh get
that
owned?
everything is nothing. And yes, I've seen Vosh get Vosh
By
owns
Destiny.
himself
No, by
whenever he opens his
Destiny
mouth.
lately. Recently it just happened, and he
You're
said
just-
he
okay.
said something that is so fucking what you're just explaining right now, is that he contradicted himself in the next sentence about the right to self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he was wholeheartedly supporting lynching, unless you flat out called it lynching.
Right.
So yeah, but what I'm looking about is something that happened after the French Revolution, that some of the remnants of that revolution tried to come and stir shit up in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and nope.
You know what I'm surprised isn't stirring a lot of shit up.
Oh,
It's
there we go.
6% of the coronavirus deaths are caused solely by coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, and even in that classification, the overwhelming majority of them are very old people, which is hilarious because being very old is in and of itself a comorbidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So that 6% is actually quite a bit lower.
Because there's zero death from the flu since January.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can even look as these numbers grow. 309, and this is the different age brackets. 309, 1,100, 3,000.
Yeah, 75 plus is a comorbidity. Once you're 75,
Come on,
you
man.
you have a comorbidity of you're very old.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here from 55 to 64, jumping to 65 to 74, it almost doubles.
Yeah, so I'm happy to take 65 down, just to be charitable, But 75 plus, fuck off.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and it's on average 2.6 comorbidities is what's killing 94% of the people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cuomo killed every old people in New York State. So
there's a lot of governors that fucked that up. Mine as well, Wolf. Oh my God. And there were people praising this motherfucker on I know, Twitter.
I think they did that on purpose. They purposely killed the old people to
No.
fuck off.
I think what happened was there was a scare that the hospital beds were going to be overloaded, and the nursing homes have a lot of beds, and also the hospitals have a hard time dealing with old people. No, no. Understand my position here. I like to be fair, so that I can drop the gavel and hang you later. Okay?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's fair.
Understand my nature here. I'm very big on being fair because it protects my credibility. For when I want the new surrender neck. So I'm very happy to give Cuomo the benefit of the doubt here that what he was trying to do was reduce congestion at New York hospitals. I think that's fair. Now, was it stupid? Yes.
Extremely.
But I'm not going to. I'm not going to accuse him of malice.
Okay. Without accusing him of malice, misjudgment.
Sure, absolutely. Look, 2020 hindsight. We didn't know. I mean, the other thing that was big was everyone was telling us that we needed to get these stupid ventilators, right? Remember the ventilator panic? Yep. Oh my God, we get a ventilator. And so Cuomo, he's not. Keep in mind, he's not a doctor. Right. Nope. So he has people telling him, and he did, people telling him who were doctors, and he's in New York. They have some very good doctors in New York. So he's getting told by these doctors, we got to get ventilators, or maybe hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers are going to die. Mm-hmm. And so Cuomo, he's got some buttons he can press to some panic buttons that maybe he can get some resources in for his people. So he presses all those buttons and he says, give me what you have because my people are going to die if you don't. And you know what? That's reasonable. Now, was he asking for some stupid bullshit he didn't need? Yes.
Oh yeah.
But did he know that? I don't
Nope.
think so. And at least
But
initially, I don't think he knew
I
that.
feel like he probably did because they had a fuck ton of ventilators that weren't even
Damn.
close to being in use in backlog, like in storage.
He was being told that the numbers were going to spike and they had to have them in inventory, ready to go when shit hit the fan.
Yeah, but you said that at the beginning of our conversation tonight that there's like the reasonable doubt
Yeah.
or like well, I
Yeah.
mean, he doesn't have a really good judgment.
I agree. I agree that Cuomo made errors.
I will, at the very least, with the nursing home thing, say it was, in my opinion, either malice or incompetence, and I don't have enough evidence to prove either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's one of the two, no matter what.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm prone to say stuff sometimes like to the extreme because I'm like a fisherman. I like to exaggerate a little bit. It's my kind of comedy. But the fact
Sure.
of the matter is, I think that he just had a really bad influence from his party in general, and politics had too much to do with health of the people as well.
Well, yeah, a lot of people were flailing around. It didn't help that China was lying about stuff. That was,
Exactly.
really. I'm gonna
Yeah.
before I blame Cuomo. I got some political problems with him,
Yep.
which is fair. I live in a free country. I get to have opinions. Okay. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad politician, although maybe I think he is. But the issue with China is they fucking knew that they had a virus and they covered it up.
Yep.
The CCP covered it up. And if we had gotten a couple weeks notice to what was going on, and they hadn't polluted the WHO with a bunch of bullshit telling people that it doesn't transfer human to human,
man.
right?
Yep.
They were telling us that.
Yep.
All kinds of misinformation.
Pelosi telling people to go to Chinatown for the New Year's Eve event when you have a lot of arrival from China at that
Cuomo
moment.
did the same thing too.
Yeah, no, yeah, they did, but one of the biggest outbreaks, of course, was in Italy.
Yeah, where you had someone hugging. It was for stop cultural racism. You had the Chinese men hugging people in the middle of a busy in Madrid.
I
also
referred to that event as Hug a Chinaman Day.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at where the if you like stories behind the scenes on this, and you are enjoying your stories about Italy, at least back in medieval days, this might interest you. Look at where the hotspot was for COVID-19 initially in Italy. Then cross-reference that with where the large ethnic Chinese knockoff garment industry is based, and you'll find that it's about 5 miles away. There's a town, I forget the name of it, escapes me, in that area that has like 30,000 ethnic Chinese in it. And they're there making knockoff handbags because the Italians were getting all these knockoff handbags coming into Italy, and they appealed to the European Union to restrict trade of knockoff handbags from outside of the EU. And so then what the knockoff handbag business did was it bought a bunch of warehouses in the middle of Italy and imported a whole bunch of Chinese people into them to sleep on mattresses in these places to make knockoff handbags. They just moved the whole thing from China to Italy, and so then if you cross-reference where the outbreak was, because where the outbreak was really quite bad was in a retirement community, I believe, somewhere to the south west of this town, where this knockoff Chinese garment industry exists.
Well, the biggest
but of course, that's where you're going to get the outbreak because that's where the people with the bad immune systems are.
The biggest,
it's 5 miles to the north where you have 40,000 Chinese people.
Yeah, but that's it. It's Milan.
It's not Milan.
Yeah,
it's north of Milan.
Yeah, it's north of Milan, but Milan is the middle of pretty much the fashion.
Look, I'll get you the name of the town to help you out with this. Let's see.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure though.
carry on while I look this up.
I'm pretty sure though, whenever China started reading the numbers that the U.S. has, their exact thoughts were,
Hey, got him.
Yeah, well, people were saying, "Oh, it's not that bad in Canada for
Okay, so
COVID."
Prato.
Oh,
Prato. It has 50,000 ethnic Chinese in it.
shit.
So for those who think that this is not that trustworthy because it's just a screenshot, here, I actually pulled up the actual website. Not that I think that anyone really thinks that I'm going to throw some bullshit out there, but just in case.
Which one?
This is just, here's the screenshot, and then I pulled up the actual website.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think COVID.
Vegeta was actually mentioning Italy was flying people from Wuhan for cheap labor at leather factory.
Yep.
Yeah, so the town in Italy is Prato. Look at a map of the COVID-19 outbreak and look at where Prato is, and you'll see it's a few miles from it. And the epicenter was not on Prato, but in fact on a nearby retirement community, which of course that's where the outbreak's going to be because you've got old people with bad immune systems. So
Yeah,
that's
makes
going to
sense.
be. That's not the point. Is the fire was in Prato, and the powder keg was in was in that retirement community. They were the combustibles.
Jesus
And
Christ, that's in the middle of Italy.
it is. You see, it's right there.
Oh fuck.
Well, the land is cheap.
So what you're telling me is it's essentially the equivalent of saying, "Hey, let's put the infected in nursing homes."
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, yeah, no one saw it that way naturally.
Well, no, but I mean, you're now okay.
If you had told somebody a year ago that it was a viral hazard to a retirement community in Italy to have a large ethnic Chinese population so many miles away, they would have just said, "Well, you're obviously a racist," and that would be the end of that conversation. And frankly, that would be kind of probably a reasonable standpoint because you can't say anything about it until the viral outbreak has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of racist, because we do have quite a bit to get through in the next hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All this Black Lives Matter bullshit is doing is causing racism.
Yep.
On both ends.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
Black man stabbed AutoZone employee because he felt the need to find a white male to kill after watching videos of police brutality.
Oh my god.
Which I have to give Daily Mail some credit here. They put the races in there when it was black on white crime.
Well,
you don't normally see that.
Because they're trying to normalize the fact that black people can attack white people without getting any kind of.
Well, they're not. It's not working.
I know, but that's what they're trying to do.
Well, it's not. It's foolish. It's not.
Yes, it is. They're trying to play. I don't think that Democrats remember who they're messing with. Like there's
who
a
are they
man.
messing with?
The person. They're messing with people that fought a government in an army with civilians and farmers. And
not this generation.
No, but the founding of it. And there's people in America that still live upon those ideas and will defend them.
Yeah.
And when that happens, no Antifa or Black Lives Matters is gonna stand in the way of that, and that's gonna be sad.
I feel like what you're trying to say is there's still true patriots in America.
Oh, yes, and they're more dangerous than the majority of the people that are vocal at the moment.
But only if you step on and wipe your ass with the Constitution.
It's like a wasp nest. Like like bees. They're quiet. You can go near them. You can even have a good partnership with them and have something good from them. But if you stir them in the bad way, they're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
fucking kill you, man. And Tifa are pushing people, and COVID. I think COVID has a lot to do with everything too. People are separated and like it's creating more in the Democrat states, I think, but
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like this shit gets squashed in Republican states as
exactly.
soon as it starts.
Yep.
Like, oh, you're doing your peaceful protest. Okay, that's fine. Hey, you just fucking smashed a window. That's it. We're cracking this shit down.
What are you gonna do with all of those BLM and Antifa? What is the solution with all of this? Because they just found a camp in Portland where they're all based at. It's Jesus Christ! It's like a fucking third world country camp in the
Well,
middle of Portland.
one of the things I'm excited about is it looks like we've got the beginnings of a RICO investigation. And one
Oh,
thing I will say, in addition to this about the faith of patriots standing up, I certainly hope that that's the case. But one thing I'll add to that is that whilst many of our institutions are having problems, they're generally quite robust, and so a lot of them have been kind of pushed back onto their back heel there. But I think quite a lot of them are now starting to step forward and advance. And so particularly the Justice Department and the Department of Homeland Security has been looking very carefully at Antifa, and the FBI has made it clear that they're looking at ties across state lines, funding, organization.
yes, there is.
And
God, there is.
enough of that happen. You get enough of that lined up on a whiteboard, and you've got the beginnings of a RICO investigation.
That's
Now,
the terrorist act or the terrorist.
no. We created that one in the 1970s to deal with the Cosa Nostra.
Racketeering. What was it?
It's for dealing with organized crime, the mafia.
Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Oh shit!
Now, keep in mind, just because we used it to go after the mafia, which we did. You watch, like these Al Pacino movies or something, and like
Al Capone was caught with that with the IRS.
With the IRS, yes. But keep in mind, RICO came around in the 1970s, long after Al Capone's time. But you watch movies like Casino or whatever, and they talk about how in the 1970s and 80s, the mob really got rounded up and started getting annihilated after so many decades of impunity.
Yep.
But one of the things that those movies, because they're movies, didn't really touch on properly is that what happened was RICO. RICO is what killed the mob. If RICO hadn't happened, we would still have the mafia.
Well, the Untouchables, the myth or the story is that they are part of that RICO thing, and that's why. No,
because the Untouchables, that's back in the that's back in Prohibition. That's well before the 1970s.
Yeah, but the idea of fighting the mafia with impunity like that, without being called the RICO Act, was something that was in
they didn't have the tools in the 30s to deal with the mafia the way they did in the 70s. In the 30s, you actually had to demonstrate that Al Capone had done something personally illegal. So, for example, if you could show that Al Capone asked somebody to kill somebody, and then they did so, it was actually very difficult to put Al Capone in jail for it, because what he would be able to say is, well, I have freedom of speech, and that guy over there, he's the bad guy. He's the guy who killed somebody. I didn't do it, right? And so what RICO did was it connected those two dots where it said, okay, I know you didn't personally kill the guy, but you killed the guy because you ordered him killed, and this guy over here does what you say.
So what are you saying that they're going to do with that? They're going to associate BLM and Antifa like a mafia and go after statesmen and politicians that
we'll see how high it goes. So the idea with RICO is what you do is you get a collection of crimes, ideally the more heinous the better, from the low level fingers, okay?
Yeah.
Who are doing things. And then what you do is you find who gives these people orders, who funds them, who organizes them. Boom. Now you've got the next level up. Now you've gotten to the knuckles. Okay. Now that you've gotten to the knuckles, then you try and figure out, okay, let me understand this layer. And what you might do is you might go to one of the people at that layer and you might say, how'd you like to spend the next 40 years of your life in jail?
Yeah, but you know
Okay,
what?
but here's the deal. I'll make a deal for you. If you tell me who's above you, I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. You
Okay,
get
yeah.
to live in Scranton, Ohio. Okay,
Yeah.
as a insurance salesman with a new ID, and no one has to know you ever exist. You can bring your wife, you bring your kids,
But do
and
you
we never
think
want to
that
fucking
really
hear from you
works?
again.
Do you think that they really do that with people and they just don't screw them over when they spill all the beans? Because I mean, like, why would you help a criminal?
Why would I? Oh no, they absolutely do. It's important that they do that because it then allows you to make these deals with the
Uh,
criminals. They have to know that they can make that deal. Now, I don't make that deal with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the deal is that for every one guy that I make this deal with, I want to put a whole shitload of them in jail for a very long time. And so, I'm okay sending this one scumbag to Scranton, Ohio, where he gets to live over there, and we watch him. So he's going to behave himself. So if he starts doing some criminal shenanigans later on down the road, well, that's a violation of one thing or another, and you're going to have a problem. But if you behave yourself, if you be a good boy over there,
Yeah.
we'll take all the names you
I agree
gave
with
us,
that.
whole organization you helped me drop, as payment. So see what this does then is I now get to move a little bit farther up. Now I'm at the wrist.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you know,
and
I'm scared
and
that
I keep playing this game, and what I'm moving towards
I
is
don't
I'm
think
moving
it's gonna
towards the
get.
brain. Okay, I'm going to try
Yeah,
and go to the brain, and I'm going to just follow from the fingers all the way up, one link at a time.
I don't think it's
And
gonna get there.
well, that's
What
what we
was
did with
the
Mafia.
that was the plot of the Untouchables, though, wasn't it?
No,
What movie was that, though? Where
The
the main
Untouchable was
character was in the mafia and he rolled because they were going to kill him. Then they made
no,
him.
no.
there's a bunch of movies where that happens. So you're not narrowing anything for me.
You're
What
not
fucking movie
wrong,
was that I'm
but
thinking
The
of?
Untouchable is more about the fact that the local policemen of Chicago
Goodfellas.
were so corrupt that it was
Goodfellas
impossible.
was after the Rico.
Yeah, that's the one I
Uh,
was talking about.
Yeah, that's
That's
after
pretty
Rico.
much that's the plot of Goodfellas.
Yeah. Well, but they weren't talking about Rico, but that was what it was. Look, they were telling the story from the perspective of the mob guys.
ah,
Yeah.
And so and also they were enjoying the character actors that they have. They have Joe Pesci and so on, and they're fun. They're fun actors.
yeah.
So that's nice. But
Yeah,
actually, what happened was it was Rico that shut them down, and it was being able to nail the top guys by connecting them to the fingers that were killing people.
It's so sad to see, though, that you have statesmen and politicians that are clearly enticing violence and have no responsibilities to
For
account
now.
for.
For now,
Yeah,
no.
for now.
This is happening in Portland. So, for example, there's some guy who goes up to federal courthouse, right? And he throws a Molotov cocktail into the federal courthouse,
Mhm.
and he walks away, and there's
Yep.
no reaction, right? Like he got away with that, right?
Yep.
Only knock, knock, knock on his door 30 days later.
Federal agents.
Yeah, and FBI, we have a
Uh-huh.
warrant for your arrest. They grab him. They take him to the same federal fucking courthouse that he threw an incendiary through the door of. There's a judge sitting in that courthouse saying, "So, says here you tried to burn this building down."
It's 5 years minimum.
Well,
10 felonies, so they can't even vote.
depends on how mad the judge is.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. So we were talking about previously about, do you trust the judge? Okay. So you say 5 years minimum. Well, this slides both ways with this discretion thing. So
Mhm.
you piss a judge off, and he's like, "This thing says I can send you away for 20 years, apparently."
And you tried to burn down my place of employment.
I want you to know that I bought the coffee machine in the break room. That's my coffee machine. You tried to, I've been in this building for 20 years, says the judge.
I'm gonna say something really positive. Is Bill Barr?
I love Bill Barr.
Bill Barr's pretty funny.
I love his stance or the way he reacts to when they were saying I reclaim my time, and he couldn't even respond to the question that the Democrat were asking. His face and the demeanor he has is like,
He's got the patience of a goddamn saint.
yeah. And the last question that he said to them was like, and I'm giving you a chance right now to condemn the acts of BLM and Antifa, and none of them spoke. None of them said a word, but I'm sure that he remembers each of them.
One of my favorite quotes from him that day was, "This is a hearing, and I'm the one who's supposed to be heard." Like, you know, because it's just ridiculous. Why are you a Nazi piece of shit? Well, I reclaim my time.
I reclaim my time.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think the American people are going to look at that and be like,
That
you know,
was
I
just-
like those people?
That was just dishonest.
Well, here's a fun thing with this. What if you don't? What if you just don't come? Like, so they give you a summons, right? Come before Congress.
Yeah.
What if you don't?
I don't know. Would that?
Yeah, I don't know either.
What do you mean you
Would
don't know?
Is there a law against you? You get arrested?
Yeah.
No, you can just not show up.
Huh.
You literally don't have to.
Yes,
What
but-
and what's more, you can give them conditions which they don't have to accept. But if they do, then those become the rules. Where you say, look, I'll show up, but I'm not going to do any of this reclaim my time bullshit you guys keep doing. So I'm going to get a certain amount of time to speak at the beginning. So like maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. And anytime I'm asked a question, I'm going to get 30 seconds to respond to that before anybody can do their reclaim their time thing. And if you don't do that, what's going to happen is I'm going to put your summons in the circular filing cabinet and say, "Come and get me."
Yeah, but that's it.
If I hadn't seen Barr get through that and realized the end result of it, I would probably have been really pissed off. But after seeing that, I would love it if they did that to me. That makes me look like a goddamn saint. Like, he's got so much that can just wreck everything we say that we're not going to give him the chance to say it,
But when you have someone like Cuomo openly threatening the president of the United States.
Yeah. Oh, he's not. No. That's not solid enough. That's not solid enough.
Plus, it's like, what's he even thinking anyway? Oh, you better bring an army. You mean the
that's
United States Army?
That can be construed. It's not a threat, but
no, I'm
rather
not.
It's a statement that he's very unpopular.
No, I think what he's trying to say, personally, what I'm thinking he's saying is next time there's a riot, you should bring the feds in. I give you my full permission. Bring an army.
No. Absolutely not.
I don't think so. Anyways, if I'm reading it right from what I've read in local papers in New York, it's not going well at all. The city of New York is becoming a battle zone. Totally.
It's dead.
Well,
it's dead.
Well, I don't know if it's dead. It's very sick. It's very sick. It's been sick for a long time.
It's not dead, but it's breeding like heavy.
Look, all they got to do. Look, New York could spring back real fucking fast. People say New York is dead. New York could spring back real fast.
Get out the governor and the mayor.
All that New York has to do is wise up. That's it. And to New York's credit, that used to be something that was a feature of the city. Was that for all the madness of the world, New York knew what side its bread was buttered on, and there was a sensibleness to that. But
New York has its own jazz now. Vegeta's saying New York has their own Chaz.
They have a chance. But the thing with New York, lately what happened, and I find it really fucking ridiculous because it looks like a concentration camp style, is that they're defunding the police and he wants to impose control points, armed control points. Just fucking put a wall all around it and call it Auschwitz. It's the same goddamn thing. You can't.
No, that's clearly excessively hyperbolic.
It is, but he is pushing people towards like less police, more violence inwards and control points with arms, meaning that you cannot go further. And you have like the suburbs in place that have no violence and everyone's really happy. It creates like a favela kind of ideology of ghetto in the middle, rich on the side, ghetto around the rich, richer on the exterior side, with walls and control points.
Yeah.
It's
You know what-
dangerous.
You know what disgusts me the most that I think is the biggest violation that we've got going on now?
Mm.
And it's been going on for a while. The fact that our public square is just so censored. So this
Yep.
is the aunt of the girl that Blake raped.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacob raped my niece. The cops were called because he came back to her house, took her keys, and he's not supposed to be there. And then this dumbass said, well, he still shouldn't have been shot 7 fucking times. She goes, should have been shot 50 times for what he did to my niece. But hopefully he survives so we can put him in jail. Seems like a pretty legit statement that someone who had their relative raped would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got this. You sound delighted he's handcuffed and paralyzed. I will leave this. There's no body cameras. This has no date on it, so I don't know the relevance to the shooting. She responded with, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but yes, I am thankful that the man who raped my niece will face consequences of those actions, and we can put this peace and justice for Ree. We can have peace and justice for Ree. I pray for her, and I pray for Jacob's family. Really nice and well thought out. I mean, considering the circumstances.
Yeah. Yep. She got banned.
Banned.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to talk about malicious criminals that have fucked you personally or your family personally.
I'm gonna go further than that. Lynn, the lawyer that's
Lawyer for
defending.
Kyle.
Yep. They're trying to destroy his personal life. They're
I'm
trying to
not
attack
surprised.
him.
They can't do that.
They're gonna try
No,
though.
but
I mean, it's
they
fucking
tried.
Antifa, man.
No, they
I
not only
mean-
that, but
I mean, how?
ex-employees and co-employees tried to. I gotta find it. It was a post, and he had to make a post about it, and he's gonna probably like sue them all. To like,
Yeah, I mean, it's not smart what they're trying to do, but
No.
like, so for instance, Twitter suspended his account for 9 hours for responding to people about
That is funny for
sexual.
Cheetah. He's the price he paid for raping a woman is he's paralyzed from below the waist.
yep, that's
Justice.
kind of irony, huh?
That's kind of funny.
Karma. I love to sometimes believe in
You'll
karma.
never feel your dick again. No.
Oh, that's so sad, huh? I hate it because we forgive and normalize pedophilia and child abusers.
Or
and,
not.
Well, sorry,
not.
but
I mean,
like-
look at Netflix.
giving a golden
Yeah, that
coffin.
wasn't good. Netflix that no one was buying that. That was a PR disaster for them.
I do feel like there are a lot of elite pedophiles out there, though.
Yes, they are.
There might be,
Disgusting.
but again, it's not been normalized in wider society. So-
Yeah, but you have the MAP society that tries to change the name of pedophilia and make it like you have like all those subliminal sentences that say shit like, oh, we know we are so different, but when we get closer we notice that we're so much alike. That's a fucking pedophile sentence right there, because people don't understand the psychology behind words and the meaning of it and the intent of them, because
Well-
people are becoming too stupid, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think you're reading too much into that case, Pat. But
Yeah, in that particular case, I'd have to agree. No one respects the map community except the map community.
Well,
But there does seem to be at least some push mainstream to attempt to normalize pedophilia, and I don't think it's going very well. But
the LGBTQ is a door for that.
that's what they're attempting to latch themselves onto, but I don't think it's being very successful because you don't really hear about the P added onto that.
No, they won't.
And then you got stuff like cuties and big mouth and just and like that law which allows a judge to look at a 25-year-old or a 20-year-old fucking a 10-year-old and go, yeah, you're not going on a sex list. Which
It's weird.
yeah, no, it's very weird and I'm highly uncomfortable with it. I don't
Yep.
But I don't think they've been doing that. Like, I mean, I'm not. It's the distrust of the judges, and would I draft this thing so that it gave a 10-year gap in there? That seems too much. But there's probably some kind of gap that should be there that should be tolerated.
well, I mean, if
would you tolerate a 1-year gap? Would that be okay?
well, I mean, if you're 17 and you're dating a 14-year-old.
Yeah, would you tolerate
bit weird?
Tolerate a 1-year gap?
But that's a bit weird. But hey, whatever. And then the moment they turn 18, suddenly that's illegal.
Let me see. Like we have to stop judging with emotions and morality, things that we don't understand. And when we get to a case that is specifically harsh, or the distance between the ages is very steep, we need to understand that there is probably mental illnesses included in that relation.
Right. So a lot of bad laws are written because legislators are a little uncomfortable just writing it out specifically. So, for example, let's say there was a 10-year gap at 17. Would that be okay? 27 and a 17-year-old?
Depends.
Well, so you see, we start to come into things there, and so obviously you have the unacceptable situation of 10 and 20, right? That's the
yeah.
That's that's not acceptable.
No.
But the presumption, I believe, of the legislators, which I think is making people uncomfortable because it's a dangerous presumption, is that the judge is not going to look at a 10 and 20 situation and not put that guy in the sex offender registry.
Well, if he doesn't,
the legislators, I believe, generally speaking, looked at that and they're like, well, of course he's going to. It'd be crazy if he didn't, right? So of course he's going to do that. But it doesn't say that he has to, and I appreciate that's what's causing the issue there. So they wrote a law that is probably too simple because it has problems with it. It's not covering extreme circumstances. And what it's relying on is that the judge is going to be a sensible guy.
You know what? I think it's too complicated. And before, when we had a pedophile, we hung him, and we hung him at the entrance of a city or a town, and people were quiet and they did things in another way. I think we forgive too much and we give too much chances, and it creates too much chances for the bad people to have exits of any kind of repercussion for the bad that they do on the innocent. That's sad, but it's society, and that's what you get when you get to a point where you start forgiving people for acts that they do without.
Well,
really.
I do think we do need forgiveness in the legal system.
Yeah,
but there should be some hard limits. So, for instance, cold-blooded murder and pedophilia. And I'm not talking like people who are just attracted to minors and they don't do anything about it, because I'm not about to judge fucking thought crime. But the moment they attempt to act on it, that should be an unforgivable crime in my
grooming
opinion.
And stuff like that, where you have like lately was like 32 children that they saved from it was a children trafficking ring. Jesus Christ, dude! Like, it blows my mind that those peeps don't go forever in a hole somewhere, never to be seen again. It's children.
Yeah.
Well, you also want to be careful. I mean, I think we all have a deep interest in protecting children, but we also don't want to make ourselves prey to the people that say, think of the children. And then use that to get as a blank check to get anything they want. And anytime you disagree with them on anything, they're like, well, you want children to be raped in the eyeball.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's like okay, that's the extreme. But I understand when there's like a relationship example with someone that is near the family and he's attracted with the 17-year-old and he's 29-year-old. And they have a relationship and one of the aunts is jealous and it goes to court and you have like issues with that. You need the judge to say, well, listen, there's no malintent and they have a sane relationship. What you want me to say that he's like sorry.
Oh, what you're doing is you're basically acknowledging that one of the people is for all intents and purposes an adult, and whilst you may not personally approve of their decisions, it's their choices to make.
Yeah, and she seems to be mature enough, and we asked her questions to the individual that is a minor, and she gives rational thinking answers. You see abuse through questioning pretty fast. When someone is under constant abuse and manipulation, it's easy for a lawyer to deconstruct that and break down that in court because people have patterns of ways you react to emotion, especially when you are under abuse, like the Stockholm effect or something like that. So, yeah, it's good that we can have more fair laws, but we need to have fair judges with not like.
Well, yeah. So that.
Yeah, that's my.
Is this working?
Yep.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The graphic thing that tells me whether you can hear me or not was choosing not to do so.
That's annoying.
Yeah. Well, maybe thought I was. Oh shit! It's broken. No, that's why. I think a lot of the problem with the U.S. legal system, it's the judges. People go after lawyers a lot as well. You know, they go after the lawyers and they say, "Oh, these slimy lawyers, they lie in court and blah 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 blah." And it's like
that's their job, though.
That's their job is to argue their case. It's the judge's job to catch the shenanigans.
Yeah, it's like saying a cop is bad because he's arresting you for something you did wrong. Well, he is bad when he's doing it, taking advantage of his position of power. I agree on that. But when you have broken the law, I mean, yeah.
Right. So, you know, you look at these court cases that go to bad places, and people will frequently blame the lawyers for that. And it's like, no. That's not their fault that the judge is an idiot.
No.
The problem is the judge is an idiot.
Yep.
And to that end, then the question is, well, how do we get better judges?
Yeah.
Well, my fellow Americans, we elect these idiots.
Yes.
No, we do. We do. And very, very few people actually pay attention to it. So, you know, we focus on, you know, the big ticket items of, you know, the president.
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
the governor. And, if we're really feeling ambitious, maybe we'll pay attention to the senator and the congressman.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, people often don't pay attention to other things on that ballot. So, for example, someone's running to be school superintendent. Well, look, he becomes superintendent because you appoint him to that position with your ballot. So
that's
you've
scary.
You've got a couple different choices here as to who's going to be school superintendent sometimes, and what's the correct one? You have no fucking idea, do you? You have no. You see this guy's name. You've never seen this guy's name before in your life, and you're like, well, I'm going to leave it blank, or I'm going to just randomly fill in a block on there. And if you do any of that, well, you can't complain to me now that that somehow
willingly let an idiot take power.
You let some crazy person be the school superintendent because you didn't vote, which means that like his cat voted him in or something. Like I've always believed in my son Jeffrey, and he wants to be school superintendent. So like his mom is the only one who votes him in, and that's all it needs because nobody else did anything.
Sadly,
and
what you're saying reminds me of all the Democrat states or blue states in the U.S.
Well, no, it's all of them. Oh, you think that in a Republican state people are paying attention to the school superintendent?
No, they don't.
No, this is a problem across the board, and it's our fault as voters, because
I mean, it even goes
you
as far
talk,
as DAs
you
too.
talk about this civic thing. You talk about, taking up arms and defending the country and all that kind of stuff. Well, before things get quite that apocalyptic, we really should make an effort to rein in our civic institutions, of which we have an enormous amount of agency, and look at a lot of these goofball positions that we're filling with all kinds of insane people, and make an affirmative effort to figure out who the hell they are. So judges, for example, at least where I am, and I think this is fairly common across the rest of the country, are elected. They're appointed. By their names are on the ballot. You see some guy, and it's like this guy or that guy for such and such bench.
And you're right.
You have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah,
you have
to research it, because that's your civic duty as a
It is.
citizen to go and research and know who you're voting for.
So this is what I recommend people do. Okay, it's not hard. A couple days before the election. Try not to do this like literally the day before, okay? Don't be a complete fucking degenerate. Do this a couple days before, at least, and get yourself you probably got one mailed to you, a sample ballot, which is going to literally tell you what's going to be on the ballot. But if you don't have one, you can go on the internet and download a sample ballot. It will literally show you what's going to be on the ballot. It'll include all the judges, all the stupid propositions, the whole thing. Look at that, and then answer all the questions on there to the best of your ability, and the ones that where you don't know what you're talking about. You may not know on a proposition. It's like, Proposition 25, which is the Save the Kittens Foundation. It's like, oh, well, that sounds lovely. We all love kittens. And then you look at it, and it's like, save the kittens by making them our overlords. All human beings will be put in cages, and cats will rule the world forever. It's like, okay. Yeah, I'm going to vote that one down. That's a terrible idea. And or it's like save the kittens by putting a bond initiative forward of $500 billion to create.
You understand? You just resumed politics. You just resumed politics in the 2000s. People don't even fucking know what they vote for. They just vote for the nice, good-looking ones. Trudeau is the best example. Every fucking Canadian voted for that cut because he looked good. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, even with his shoes. He's completely out of the goddamn idea. I never saw someone that is so far from the reality of stuff that he's doing at the moment. Did you see him at the G20 trying to?
You showed me.
Oh,
I don't
know.
I demand Justin Trudeau in a beret and a green camo shirt. Ideally vacationing in the jungle, possibly Cuba.
Oh my God, I hate that man.
Well, there you go.
He's destroying everything that like conservatives built for the 20 last years before he was there.
I don't take Canadians seriously that say they're mad, because they never do anything.
No, they're not mad. They don't even realize what's going on at the moment.
Like, they don't care. I was listening to a whole bunch of people from Alberta that were telling me that like they were super mad that they were getting fucked over yet again by Ontario and whatever. And I was like, all right. Well, there are literally things you can do, but it's going to involve risk. It's going to involve sticking your neck out a little bit. You're gonna have to do something. And they're like, well.
Come on, eh?
No.
Come on, eh? No, they won't.
Hey, I'm not saying about you, but
no, I know. I know. I'm not even. I've never considered myself as a Canadian. Uni, I sent you a picture that you can put for him. It's a personal favorite.
And I don't mean that to be
I've
disparaging of the poor
already.
fucking Albertians. I'm not trying to kick you guys when you're down.
That's Castro and Trudeau.
It's just and his mom was clearly banging the dude.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Dad show the image of Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau's supposed father, at the same period of time.
Pierre Elliott doesn't look at all like
what you'll Not only does he not look like his father.
First name?
Pierre Elliott.
Pierre, I think it's
Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Yeah, Pierre Trudeau.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I need. It's a first name. Damn it.
Pierre. Pierre.
Wait.
The
You're
the,
shitting
the Anglo
me.
version of that is Pierre.
Peter.
Yeah. So
Is that
you-
seriously him?
Yup. Now at the same now why don't you show me Justin Trudeau's wife at that same period or no, Pierre Trudeau's wife
Oh,
at that same period?
look, she's
No.
Look,
Better.
That's not her.
No, what?
That's
No,
her.
it is. But you got a little up there. One. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
That's the family
And you
picture.
see that kid there? You see that
Yeah.
kid?
That's
You know,
Justin.
I believe that is Justin Trudeau,
Mhm.
literally.
I'd
Well-
put money on it.
The son of Castro committed suicide, one of them, and it is in his letter of suicide. He said that he never could be equal to his brother that was born in another country.
That's amazing.
And everyone's like, "Oh, it's conspiracies."
And so you know what else is
Yeah.
amazing?
What?
We shared a clip here, I believe last week, maybe the week before. I'm pretty sure it was last week though, where the feds came into Kenosha.
Yeah.
And in this out of context clip, they just roll up on this van and smash the window out and snag the people out of it and arrest them and have one of the feds drive the van off.
Mm-hmm. And
Well, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. You're missing the bit where they run over a hooker, and then all get out of the car and ride motorbikes because it's GTA, right, guys?
yeah. Well, they did that, but the idea is that the BLM people were saying that they were there to feed people, but BLM has been using cans and stuff like that as weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Riot Kitchen that they were investigating, and they stopped the bus and they were checking out the bus and detaining the occupants, and the minivan attempted to drive away.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the feds just rolled up on it like, you ain't going anywhere. We got an investigation to do. And the vehicle, they found various items, including helmets, gas masks, protective vests, illegal fireworks, and suspected controlled substances. So not only it's implied, but not 100% guaranteed. I mean, for all we know, they could have just been celebrating, but
yeah, but the idea is that they came across from another state as well.
Seattle, yeah, Portland.
So they brought weapons from another state into this state.
And it's implied that they were handing this shit out to rioters. I say implied because I don't know the results of the court case, innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, it's pretty damning evidence, if you ask me.
No, the idea is that Kyle, they said that he brought the weapon from outside. The idea is that there's buses of BLM and stuff that goes from state to state with guns in their pockets, and no one says a word about it.
Well, also from what we can tell, the gun did not cross state lines, and even if it had, it still wouldn't have been a problem. Not in the state of Wisconsin. Illinois might have had a problem with it, but Wisconsin would not.
Not from what I read.
Yeah, because it's a short barrel. Yep. Because it wasn't a short barrel.
Right. No, the only way. Basically, the deal is that people 16 years of age and older in Wisconsin are allowed open carry in the state of Wisconsin. Just in general. The limitations on that are that they lose that if they're the weapon in question, short-barreled weapon, or if they're involved in hunting without a hunting license.
Yeah.
If you are neither hunting nor using a short-barreled weapon, then you simply are allowed open carry.
If you're 16 and up.
16 and up, yep.
And the weapon was...
And not a felon.
No.
Oh, yeah.
If they were trying to prove that boy is being a felon, they're going to have a hard time.
No, I was just bringing that up because of who I like to call felon Antifa. What was his name? Gage?
I think so. Well, Gage actually wasn't. I think he didn't actually have a felony.
No,
he had
He was the only one who didn't, I think.
no.
He
You're
did-
talking about the one with the arm that was taken off. They found
Yeah.
out that he had like, oh no, that's the other one. That's the one that died.
Yeah, so Gage, the worst offense that he had was being intoxicated while carrying a firearm.
Right. Yeah, that's not a felony. That was a misdemeanor.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
It was, yeah.
All right. Well, then he was legally allowed to carry that firearm, as far as I know. Then.
No.
Yeah, as far as I know as well. The other two, however, were felons.
Now, there was one site that said he had a burglary, but as you pointed out before, it said his age was 43, but it had his proper birth year.
I don't know. When you look at the Wisconsin, if he has a conviction, it's not in Wisconsin, so it'll be another state. But in Wisconsin, he has only misdemeanors.
Oh, it's like good, Mackie.
And the people that said that the guy that was 5'3" was not a pedophile and he aggressed, like he was accused of 4 sexual.
Well, he was on a
aggression.
lifetime pedophile registry, so
Yeah, and it disappeared because when you die, it disappears.
Yeah.
But they found it again in another state.
Arizona.
Yeah.
It was on the Arizona books.
The question.
But Wisconsin is like, oh, well, you were a pedophile in life. You're dead now, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, and they just wipe it away.
The issue that really bothers me is that the fact that they're trying to make him a mass shooter, and by the only fact of looking at the video, the moment right before he shoots the guy in the arm, the guy has a gun in his hands, and Kyle looks at him, and he stops a second, and he doesn't fire. And if it was a mass shooter, he would just have opened fire right there. He opened fire when he saw that he was becoming a menace.
Hi, Lindsay. So when we were talking about Trudeau, Vegeta shared this with me.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised there's no blackface on this.
You know that a French talk show, his wife said to the host, they were talking about another man that they met. And she was telling the host, well, yeah, and he was pretty cute. And then she looks at Justin and she says to him, well, you should have kissed him. I was
so
like,
you said I'm surprised there was no blackface.
Yeah,
Oh,
on that one particular picture.
on that one, yeah.
Because I know there's
there
like
is a
3.
blackface photo.
He did it like 3 times.
in that picture. In the
No,
one
no,
I
no. Here you go.
shared.
Here's blackface. There you go.
Yes, that's my point though. Is like, where'd you put it? Okay, that's my point though. In that picture I was sharing, I'm surprised there wasn't the Trudeau blackface picture on it.
Oh, right.
Yes, this one.
Yeah. No, he apparently did blackface a couple times.
Yes, he did.
Liked,
Yep.
Yeah, he likes to dress up. He likes to dress up.
Hmm?
I think he's the club boy of the elite. Like he's the pedestal where they put their feet when they meet.
Now, in Trudeau's defense, though, in this particular case, I don't see this as racist.
No.
He's not exacerbating the features like they used to when they did blackface to make fun of black people. He's just trying to look black. That's it.
I don't think that there's much of systematic racism and blackface and nothing. I think it's just using idiotic reasons to create division and create more fucking fights. But it's only the idiots. I mean, it's only like people that are affected by the fact that someone calls them the N-word and goes completely insane and starts destroying something. Dude.
And then turns right around and gets called the N-word by someone of the same skin color.
And does nothing. And turns around and calls me a white cracker.
Should be a compliment from what I've heard.
Sad.
I just find it like, it's words. Come on. They made jousts like fools. They existed because the king needed to be humbled. Someone needed to make fun of him without restrictions. Say that he had probably a small dick, and that's why the princess was seeing with the knights.
Oh, no, that's not what you do with the fool. Are you kidding? No. Use the fool to belittle the nobles.
Well,
No,
and
that's I'm the
king
king. No. No. That fool better not belittle me.
well,
I'm the
even
goddamn king.
Or he's going to be hanging by his testicles. No, what happens is I invite a whole bunch of pompous lords over to my palace and to have a conversation, and then every once in a while there's like some little shitty comment, like in rhyme, that comes out of the fool, and I've already told him what I want him to say. Like we had a conversation. He's actually kind of a funny guy. His job is basically to be that guy like in the back of the room who just cracks like the joke that everybody laughs at, that makes the guy I'm talking to, who's kind of a difficult guy, seem like a fool himself. The fool is it's like good cop bad cop, right? So
I know,
it lets the
fool.
king sit there and be good cop, and then the fool sits in the back and he's bad cop, and he starts saying some silly shit to make Lord so and so look like an idiot.
Yeah, but a good fool was able to make fun of his king and have the approbation from his king. That's why I said
only if it made it look like there was impartiality, which could then be used. No, don't for a moment think that the king is trying to belittle himself.
No,
Okay,
but
it's all about power, baby. Power.
Yeah, I know, but still, if he sees that it makes it's like a deterrence from something else. You see,
Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
makes fun of a small thing because he doesn't want people to realize a big thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that the king.
Yeah, well, then the king can sit there and he can like shrug his shoulders at Lord So and So who's offended and say, "I'm sorry, I can't control him. He's out of control."
Mhm.
But he's not.
Yeah.
He's not out of control. He's doing exactly what I want him to do. And Lord So and So knows exactly what's going on. But a whole bunch of people in the crowd either are idiots or they don't care. They're like, you know what? Hey, I think he's obnoxious too. I think that was funny. Everybody have a laugh at Lord So and So's face.
Today
He's a pompous son of a bitch.
Yeah, but today, that's what I say, that it's completely dead. You can't do that even.
No, you can.
What are you talking about?
That's absolutely what
comedians do it all the time.
Well, not only no. You see this in political campaigns. So you've got like your super PAC and you've got your core campaign, right? So your core campaign says something nice and hopeful, like we're building a stronger America and blah 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 blah. And then the super PAC, who is unaffiliated with me, but which is trying to get me elected, says, "Oh, the other guy likes to eat babies." And the main campaign doesn't say that. They're like, no, we didn't say anything about eating babies. We were talking about. I mean, I disagree with his politics, and I've heard other people say that he eats babies, but I've seen no credible evidence for that.
I would laugh.
And then those two guys, they see they're not supposed to talk to each other. The super PAC and the campaign proper are not supposed to communicate, but they do. And so then what happens is they coordinate and they go, hey, yeah, the other candidate is starting to cause me some trouble. Would you suggest that maybe he fucks children? Do you think you could do that for me? And he's like, yeah, sure. I say any kinds of crazy shit to get you elected. High five, bro. Okay. So then that guy goes out there and he says, oh, he eats dogs. He liquefies gerbils and snorts them. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's not like that's not what I'm saying.
I have a better example. I have a better example in modern day. You may have heard of it.
What?
Rise today to consider the Green New Deal.
I love this guy.
The seriousness it deserves. Every cow I spoke to.
Okay. Yes. I saw this guy, man.
A picture of former President Ronald Reagan firing a machine gun while riding on the back of a dinosaur. In a future without air travel, how are we supposed to get around the vast expanses of, say, Alaska during the winter? Well, I'll tell you how. Tauntauns, Mr. President. All residents of Hawaii would be left with is this. This is a picture of Aquaman. These images
This is a picture of Aquaman.
Documentary film, Sharknado 4.
A documentary film, Sharknado 4. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean,
that is a perfect modern day example of the court jester.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's fighting the opposite Jester, which is AOC.
Absolutely. And and you're quite right. She is also a jester.
She is.
So no, they're out there. There's no question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not because she's not funny. She's not trying to, and it's like memeing
No.
from the left. They just
No,
can't
the
do it.
jester doesn't even necessarily need to be funny.
Oh,
The
no.
jester-
No.
Well, it's not necessary.
No, sarcasm and satire doesn't need to really be funny.
Well, or look, the jester sometimes just is crazy.
Yep. But
So
she's
the-
crazy and she knows she's crazy. So by that meaning, she's
Well,
less crazy than the crazy that doesn't know.
but the jester isn't necessarily crazy either. The jester is pretending to be crazy.
Yeah, but in this case, we're talking about AOC.
Yeah. What she wears clown makeup. Have you not seen what she looks like?
Oh my god.
Look at that smile. Tell me that she. Come on,
What smile? You mean this smile?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tell me you're not looking like. Imagine that with like the tasseled hat with the bells on there, right? That's literally what you're looking at. You've been looking at it the entire time, and you haven't seen it.
That's beautiful.
Oh my god. That look reminds me of the description of a sociopath. I don't know why, but she
I could see it.
smells. She smells like someone that is completely out of.
Wait, you've sniffed AOC? Are you Biden?
Yeah, a little bit.
he sniffed this chick.
But she smells good. She's just crazy.
All right. So, jokes aside, time to get mad.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Trump supporter shot dead
Yeah,
in downtown Portland.
And Vice released a video tonight with him explaining that it was in self-defense and it's complete bullshit.
Oh, you mean this was in self-defense?
Yeah, he says that he was protecting a black friend.
From what?
I don't know.
Well,
And yeah, there he goes.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that that's going to accomplish anything. So
No, it's not. From what I've heard, and I have not
I mean, it's
verified
sad
this.
that for by all indications, the guy that got shot was not a scumbag.
Nope.
Unlike the pedophile, the wife beater, and the guy whose life was completely falling apart with the drunken disorderly with a firearm. And I think if you look at the rest of his thing, I think the guy that got his arm almost shot off. I think he was evicted recently, got his car repossessed. I mean, like a whole bunch of unfortunate things that happened to him.
Because of I think he's responsible for all of that. But this was a patriot American just being a person going out of I think they were in a legal.
Well, he got out of the truck. That was his mistake.
Yeah.
He got out of
apparently, he didn't even get out of a truck. He lived near there.
Really?
Yeah, they were walking, two of them, I think. And
oh well, then you don't wear all that shit when you're walking down the street. In any case, you want to go through town in your truck with that. That's one thing. You're walking around with Antifa. No, not unless you're moving in numbers.
I mean, I can get away with it, but that's because I live in Pennsylvania.
No.
Where insane people live.
Shut up. I'm talking about Portland, dude. Come on.
He was in the middle of pretty much the odd spot.
Yeah.
So it's really fucked up.
But you shouldn't be scared of going out in public in the U.S. with anything, even if it's a MAGA hat. I mean,
well, should, but be smart. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
if you're in Portland right now, you're walking around with a bunch of Trump paraphernalia. What are you doing, man?
It's the same. I think it's the same responsibility of someone resisting arrest. You have to be aware of what's going on.
There's brave and there's stupid. Yeah,
I got you on that. Then again, at least not in numbers.
And understand. I mean, this sounds like you're victim blaming.
No,
I'm not, because what I'm saying is I don't want people to get hurt.
Nope.
And I don't want people to subject themselves to the dumb stuff. So what I'm really saying is don't trust Antifa. It's really what I'm saying.
Be aware.
Well, I mean,
and don't turn your back on those fuckers.
No.
And so you can't, if these people were halfway reasonable, you could walk around them, and they might not like what you're doing. They might throw a comment at you, but that's as far as it would go. But you know what? They're not reasonable.
I
They're,
see
they're,
this.
some of them want to kill you.
I see this as an
so
escalation. It's gonna escalate. It's gonna become that now it's Antifa firing on people randomly. This
yeah,
this is random, and it's gonna start a movement of patriot people that are gonna start shooting Antifa
nah,
without having
I
anything.
don't see that.
nah. See,
So-
it's actually it's better than what I think you may be hoping there, Mackie.
I'm not hoping for it.
Well, Mackie. Here's the thing. I think the FBI actually is more likely to use this because now they've got a body count. You know, one of the things that is difficult when you're dealing with Antifa is they're like, well, how many people have we killed? As if that
31
matters.
now, at
As
least.
as if that matters. It's like you look at the amount of property damage that they've done. It's unnecessary. You don't have to literally kill somebody to literally be a terrorist. That's
No,
unnecessary.
you need
if you
arson and organized
yeah, intimidation, all kinds of
Yep.
it. Yeah, which they've
Yep.
got that in spades.
Mhm.
And but now we've got some bodies, and I'm sorry that this young man died. That's unfortunate, but I can't bring him back.
No.
And at
It's
the very least, we can draw attention to what happened, and try and go forward with that. You know,
Lindsay, you can't
So-
count two of those because those were Kyle.
are two of them, Kyle?
I wouldn't exactly say Kyle is Antifa.
Well, there you go. Only 31.
Well, he's a libertarian, by the way. He's not
Is he?
he's not even with the police or anything. He was against the police. He
No,
even-
he
What,
wasn't
Kyle?
against the police. He was.
Kyle,
There was a lot of
was
Blue Lives Matter and
absolutely
whatnot.
no. Kyle was volunteering with the police.
Yeah,
He was in volunteer like young police officer.
Yeah, but the group that was there that night that he was with, okay, they stated in the parking lot that they didn't even care of what was going on, and if they wanted to destroy federal buildings, go ahead. They just
not what they're
didn't want.
defending. Yeah,
They just didn't want them to destroy the businesses of this owner in particular that asked them to come because it was the last of 3 stores that he had that was still standing.
Mhm.
So
That's fine. But I'm telling you that Kyle was volunteering
personally,
with police organizations.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that if you want to talk about him, that's what he was doing.
yeah. He was seen was scrubbing off some graffitis. He's
Mhm.
been doing a lot of community
Yeah.
work, and in that perspective, I agree. But that night, and what happened is that they even stated, "Listen, do what you want, just leave this store alone." And it's escalated around that situation because the one that was screaming, shoot me in," that died was in that particular area where they set the dumpster on fire. Everything
Yeah.
happened in that little
Well,
square.
that also should be taken as an attempted murder as well. Because if you've got people at a gas station and you're pushing a flaming
Yep.
dumpster
Yep.
at people that are guarding a gas station,
Well,
I mean, am I to believe the reasonable man doesn't know that is possible? That
Yep.
could cause a gasoline explosion?
arson is a criminal offense, and it's
So is murder.
so. I mean,
Yep.
they have a lot. In at the moment, Antifa, I would be fucking scared to even be associated with the name in the
Yeah.
U.S.
yeah. And I'm all about.
I mean, bare
police
minimum, they should
reform.
be charged with reckless endangerment.
Yep.
And that's on top of the arson. That's on top of whatever the property damage.
Unlawful
There's
riots.
a few. Yeah, there's a few other things that are on that list we could probably talk about, but yeah, there's more than enough things there that these guys should be looking at 5 to 10 years in a lot of cases.
So, and like I was about to say, you were saying, you would be afraid to be even associated with Antifa with what's going on.
Mhm.
I am all about police reform and making sure police are held accountable when they do fuck up.
Yep.
And I do think Black lives do matter, but I will never, ever be part of that fucking organization because of the violence and just the heinous acts in which they do on a fucking daily basis these days.
Do you understand that they took an ideology of a system and a bunch of people that were called anarchists, but they didn't attack the citizen? That the fundamental ideology of that group was a little bit like Fight Club. If we want things to change, we gotta attack the establishment at spots where it really fucking hurts. The Nasdaq, banks, global industries, companies, like the scandals that were in Canada with the big fucking investments on so-called companies that went in Africa do some shady jobs and never came back with the money and stuff like that. I think that's more important at the moment. Like we kind of have to start waking up all around because those groups that existed before are, if you can find them, you're gonna find who's behind all of this. And I think Canada is funding a lot of the issues at the moment in the US.
I don't doubt that at all.
I think so. Sadly, because I can't prove it, but goddamn, I know that he's funneling all of our money into the U.S. because there's no one in Canada that is getting really help with COVID. It's really weird what's going on, and he's gonna.
What do you mean? I thought they were giving you guys fairly robust bailout packages.
Well, I don't know a lot of people that got them.
I thought everybody got them, but then there was a clawback, I guess, where after people got them, they had to pay them back or something if they couldn't show that they had needed them in the first place.
Yeah,
Like
and
that?
most people didn't need them that asked for them, and the most people that needed it because they had a small industry, like a small local bread maker or something. Fuck them.
Yeah.
So there's money being funneled out because 37 billion. First of all, where the fuck does he take that? He just lost 100 billion.
Well, I hate to rush things along, but we've got approximately half an hour left.
Yep.
And I would like and 3 more stories. We got about 10 minutes per story.
Go ahead.
I'd like to take a look at the DA that is currently that set Kyle's bail to $1 million. That is what it was last I checked, right? Is there any change on that?
No, I didn't see any.
This same DA is trying to drop the hammer on this Crystal Kaiser chick who was accused of killing her suspected sex trafficker. And as you look down through here, where is it? Kaiser, then 17, maintained she acted in self-defense when she shot Volar, 33, twice in the head and set his Kenosha house on fire after he drugged her and pinned her to the ground to rape her, she told the newspaper. Now, that seems kind of sus, as Mackie pointed out, but there's also Kaiser's bail, which was initially set to $1 million, was reduced to $400,000, and where's that last part? Valar had already been under investigation by Kenosha police for sexual conduct with underage girls as young as 12 when he met Kaiser, or Kizer, or however the hell you pronounce that.
Mm-hmm.
So the same DA, this isn't like locked down tight and foolproof, but it does tend to add credence to this DA saying, no, fuck you. You're not allowed to defend yourself.
Yeah. He's known in Wisconsin to be an activist DA, and he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So he's trying to get some woman who shot the guy that was sex trafficking her, and now he's going after a kid that was defending himself from a mob.
Mm-hmm.
So it's his thing, but I think that he was sort of being ignored, and now, and again, this gets directly to what we were talking about. Who made this guy DA? Who made this guy DA?
Yeah, but not only that. So he's virtual signaling with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look. I'm not saying this guy's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
No.
But
I know, but
okay.
It's just that, like, he's virtue signaling with the lives of people. That's what he's doing.
He's a scumbag. So, but why? How did he become DA? How did that
Because
happen?
people voted him in.
Bam. And why did people vote him in as DA? What did he say? Did he say, I'm going to make sure that people that are trying to defend themselves go to jail? You think that was what the people of Wisconsin, which is a very pro Second Amendment state, they hear that and they go, oh yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
No, it's because no one
this-
pays attention.
Yeah, no one.
Generally, yeah, it's because people don't pay attention. So look, we have to take this stuff seriously.
Yep.
I don't want things to go to tricorn hat. We got to burn everything down whilst getting our muskets out.
No.
I want to have rational discussions with people. I appreciate sometimes I'm dealing with people that can only agree. That's fine. What I do is I turn them down and I look at who's left and I go, okay, is there a conversation left to be had, or was it just this guy over here causing the problem? But then we gotta move forward and we gotta be sensible, because the entire basis of the American Republic is that the people in general are rational. The people in general are sensible. There's a lot of cynics out there who like to say, oh no, the people are inherently stupid. People are inherently foolish and ignorant and all kinds of stuff. And we have our ignorances and we make our mistakes. But if you have that kind of cynicism, you can't justify a republic in the first place. You might as well have a tyranny of some description. So we have to believe in ourselves, but it's not enough to just kind of give ourselves participation trophies. We have to go out there and fucking earn it, which means you have to read into these goofbats that are going to show up on your ballots, where the hell you are. Pull it up, look at it. There's going to be stuff on there you don't know what it is. Look it up. Look up who these people are, and there's going to be people that you find more. I'm not saying that the guy who's running your options, you're going to be necessarily happy with your choices here. It's like we had a choice between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and some people like both of those people a lot, but they've got a lot of problems with them, both of those candidates. And ultimately, what you had to do as a voter on that day, you had to choose between those two people. You couldn't choose anybody else. Jesus wasn't running. You had to choose one of those two people. That was it.
Which Jesus, the BLM one or the normal one?
Only Korean Jesus. So
okay, yeah.
So no, what you would do is you look at the judges you have on offer for name the district. You look at the DAs you have on offer, and you make the best choice you can. You don't have the ability to personally fix the whole system, but you can do your part to not be part of the fucking problem.
Yeah, that's right.
And so long as you're reading what's going on, you've looked into these things, you've made an informed decision, and your vote on that day honestly represents your best judgment because you looked into it, at the very least, you're doing something. You're doing something. And if it all goes fucking tricorn hat, then, well, I guess I hope I'll see you on the right side of whatever the fuck happens there on that day. But till then, I want to defend these institutions every inch, because the first thing that any enemy, you like to talk about Sun Tzu. Tell me if Sun Tzu didn't say this. Is it not to your advantage to convince the enemy to abandon the fortress? If your enemy is in a well defended position, you want to pull him out of position. You want to get him to a place where he's not defended. Well, I am ensconced within layers of defense. I've got my Constitution. I've got these civic institutions. I've got this culture with normative values, which is all going for me. I've got a lot of things going for me to defend my battlements.
Well,
and
then,
if you want, I'm not leaving these walls, okay? Because I want these motherfuckers to come storming my walls and die like morons while I throw fucking rocks on them. Okay, that's my goal.
That's why you cannot attack a republic like the U.S. head-on, and you starve them within. And that's why I want to be a citizen of the U.S. to be able to vote and keep that freedom at hand, and able us to keep up having discussion and be able to agree to disagree, because it's the foundation of freedom is being able to debate and have free speech with mutual respect. It's not only about you can say whatever you want. I mean, if we're people of government.
Well, at least you're not going to fucking kill me.
Exactly.
I mean, because that was the whole thing Socrates was dealing with, right? Yep. He's walking around and he's saying, well, you guys all believe in Zeus and so on. Why is that? And they said, you're a fucking troublemaker there.
We're gonna kill you, bro.
So I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell me straight up that you're a trick ass bitch and you're wrong and I'm right, or I'm gonna make you drink this hemlock.
Yep.
And Socrates is like, oh fuck you, I'm gonna drink the hemlock.
But
All right, so Geodes said some breaking news. Apparently, a Portland Antifa shooter, Michael Reinl, died in Lacey, Washington. He had been killed by U.S. Marshals who went to arrest him. I'm assuming that's the guy who killed the Patriot Prayer dude.
Possibly.
I could be wrong on that.
Possibly.
what was his name?
And yeah, people keep thinking like what's going to be the response to Antifa is going to be the right-wing death squad. It's not. It's going to be the fucking U.S. Marshals. These guys, these guys are criminals. They are domestic terrorists.
Yep.
And let me tell you, I'm not saying that they should get shot and killed. What I'm saying is, if they resist for arrest, then something may happen. But if they go peaceably, they get their day in court. They get due process. They get an attorney. They get a jury of their peers, and we'll see what comes of that.
They won't. That's the point. They are cult-like fanatics, and they think that they're entitled to resist.
Well, and then you've also got people like this guy.
Oh, they also cry.
Yeah, they definitely cry. Flamethrower dude. So you get this guy.
You do have to go to the guy that cried when he got arrested, because I will not have it be said that Antifa are these dedicated supermen. Okay. A lot of them are a bunch of punks.
Yeah. So this is part of an Instagram video that was put out shortly before this guy got shot.
Yep.
Now what happened? Or I think this is the other guy. There were three perpetrators. They actually weren't, as far as I know, doing anything necessarily wrong, aside from probably having these not registered. They were taking this video in the vehicle. People saw, hey, there are these guys in a vehicle waving firearms around. And 911, I don't feel safe right now. So the cops came to investigate. This guy stuck around and shot at them. This dude and the other dude took off. And if this is the dude that I think it is, he actually was arrested. He was caught and arrested, but he also wasn't shooting at fucking police. Like this guy was.
Yeah, but the first one, it's the same guy, because they look the same. The first guy in the picture and the guy on the right on the second picture.
What, this guy?
Yeah.
These are the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
well,
look at the firearm.
Yeah, that's the guy that
died.
died.
The same video.
It's the guy that died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's why he's the main dude in the story.
Yeah. But I didn't see the part where he shoots. I only saw the part where he's down. I didn't get the full footage yet.
Man with a gun inside a car confronted police. K ran and was shot once during a pre-foot chase. He later died of his. I recall reading that he shot back, and that's what caused it.
Me too. That's the part where I'm not seeing it.
The other suspect was reportedly arrested but not shot after he also fled the scene. Two other people named Smith and Brown remained in the vehicle and were arrested. Oh, so there were 4 of them?
Yeah, that's it. That's the first story that happened. It was that 4 of them, 2 of them ran off, and 2 of them stayed there and complied.
Yeah, and they weren't shot, obviously. So I have not even watched this body cam footage yet. This was just released as we were starting the stream up. So let's enjoy. Where's the
leading up to when a DC police officer shot and killed 18-year-old Dion K. Only 7 seconds elapse from when the officer exits his car until he fires the fatal shot. Mayor Muriel Bowser released the body-worn video today as required by new police reform laws.
I want to offer my condolences to the family of Dion K.
Oh.
Our community
they're really the ones who
is
are affected
hurting,
the most.
and we know that they want answers.
According to Chief Peter Newsham, police were looking for 4
Using the poor to kill the poor.
who had been streaming live video of themselves with guns. When police arrived in the 200 block of Orange Street, the men...
This isn't class war.
As one officer was in pursuit, he turned and saw Kay appearing
No,
to
it's
pull
not.
out a handgun.
But they're using the poor against the poor.
Kay was trying to discard the weapon.
Who's
as
using the
officer
poor?
shot him. Immediately after firing that shot,
People
the
that
officer can be heard
Pay
frantically
for them, people that entitled them to think that they can do anything without repercussion.
He's up there.
Nah, there's no master plan.
Hey, I got it.
Newsham's
All right. So he didn't shoot.
Nope.
I don't know where I got that from. I think it was the second story you gave me, which was
I'm trying to find it again, but yeah, I did seem to have shot at all. That's the point.
did they update that story maybe? Because I swear.
Probably. They could have.
Yeah, I swear it initially said in there that the officer shot, or he shot first at the officer, and then
maybe
obviously we see with the body cam footage what actually happened.
Wrong. Maybe they were wrong.
Yeah, it happens.
It does in fact happen. So the point being though, he fucking ran, and like
I have a hard time, bro. Like it's becoming so tense with everything that people should be conscious about what they're doing at the moment. Like we're saying, you have to be responsible as an adult or a person, at least when you have a firearm in your hand. And okay, I'm not saying that he deserved to be shot. But
Was he? Well, wait a minute. Was he shot whilst he had a gun?
yes, he was throwing it off, but he
He
lifted his hand in the air, and the policeman shot him at the same time, and he let the gun down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it became apparent after the trigger is pulled that he was talking.
Here's something you got to be careful with if you are a criminal. We were previously talking about how to successfully murder and get away with your murders,
which we don't condone.
Of course we don't. But if you do it, the other thing is that you want to be very conscious as a criminal. Really, we probably should have. We have got police schools. We might want to have crime schools. What do you think? Just like basic education on how to be a criminal.
Just besides Planned
Well, like you could take it as like an elective in high school or something, and I'm sure we could get a professor in college.
Bro, if you think that they won't call that racism after everything that they call racism?
I'm trying. No, because I'm going to have a black guy teach it.
Honestly, though, like a legitimate.
Ideally, well, I mean, maybe not, but I'll at least I got to get an expert, so I'll try to get somebody who was a professional criminal,
or at least doesn't shoot a gun sideways, like in the gangster style.
Right, exactly. So that is poor gun handling right there, and it's just, it is. So you got to be able to deal with stuff like that. I mean, I appreciate it helps when you're doing the drive-by to hold it sideways. Like, no, it does.
Yeah,
it does. But it has no efficacy outside of the drive-by.
No, and the Instagram pictures do, but that's something else.
So you actually did give me a legitimate idea. Instead of a criminal class, how about a class where they teach people how the officers work?
Yeah,
like they're kind of
what to do,
protocols,
how to respond
and how to
when
react.
an officer arrests you.
Yeah.
I demand that whoever does this be literally a blood or a crip.
Yeah, from the hood to the schools.
No, I want a 45, 50-year-old
they don't survive that long.
And battle-hardened blood or crip. Let me tell you, there are not a lot of Bloods or Crips that make the 50.
No, find a Blood or Cribs that is 50 and that is not retired, and I'm like, that's
straight up. You're off frequently dealing with a smart guy for one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a guy who knows how to dodge bullets. So don't fuck with him.
It's a guy who knows how to ignore his idiot friends.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Hells Angels. You have the bikers, and you have like the guys that are in tuxedos and.
So I mean, one of the things you can do is you can have other specialist classes, like how to run a small gang, right? And also how to set it up properly so it can scale.
Yeah. Yeah. And just by the gender study room.
Well, perhaps you can do what you could possibly do some outreach with feminists to see if you can possibly expand representation in the narcotics industry of women. That'd be great, right?
Well,
I mean, that's progress.
BLM needs a little course on acceptance.
Right. No, but I think it would be really great because you'd get these young kids who frequently have a hard time in the criminal, working their way up in their criminal career, and they don't understand kind of where they find themselves. So, for example, have you guys ever heard of crash dummies? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are these low-level recruits to a criminal operation that are used as dispensable assets.
Yeah.
By the operation, and they have a very short lifespan in their careers. They are not paid very well, and they tend to go to jail or they're killed, right? So it's to your as a prospective professional criminal, on the one hand, you want to make sure that you can get your own crash dummies that you can use to abstract your high risk criminal activity onto them. Right?
That's dangerous.
At the same time, you also want to make sure you don't become a crash dummy because you're just starting out. It's very likely that they're going to want you to do that.
Yeah, but that's dangerous. You're giving knowledge to the idiots. They might turn on you.
No, I hope.
No, he's saying you're giving knowledge to the crash dummies.
Yeah.
Here's actually what I'm hoping happens. So this is part. No, because I'm a sarcastic, subversive motherfucker.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping this does is it demystifies the criminal world to the kids, because there's this kind of rap around it. And then you break it down, and you can't have Mr. Peters, who teaches social studies, teach this, because he's got no street cred.
Shit, no.
Right? He's got no street cred.
God,
so I got to use the 50-year-old Blood or Crip veteran.
Yes, I get what you mean.
He goes in there and he talks real quiet.
Like they used to do in my time, where he's
not. I'm not scaring him straight though. Okay, I'm not doing this thing where, like, I want him to come in and literally teach the kids how to run a criminal operation.
Yeah, we had that when we were younger. It's not really how they taught us how to do it, but they explained to us how it worked. And it was an inmate from the Hells Angels that came to the school and then explained to us how you get caught into it. But he pretty much explained how to fucking do the business yourself. But he said, like, it's a pyramidal thing. There's always someone paying.
One thing that the Crip guy could talk about is the importance of making sure that you understand, you pay attention in math class. Well, because you got to keep track of the money. You got to keep track of who's holding what, right? No, double entry. Let's be real. Double entry accounting has a high degree of efficacy in the narcotics industry.
And if you think 2 plus 2 equals 5, you're going to end up busting the wrong person's kneecaps.
And that's another point. Basic first aid and trauma care. So you can have a guy about, you're going to get some guy who's going to roll up on you and take a shot at you, and the fucker grazes you, but you got to run, because otherwise you put another cap in your ass. So you're running, you're hiding somewhere, right? And how do you improvise a tourniquet, right? And so this is something you need to know.
You can't do it that with syringes, though.
It's not fucking Fallout, dude. You can't just jam a red needle in yourself and arms regrow.
Shit.
No, you have to do your tourniquet. You have to whatever, just to stop the blood loss, and then you have to explain, that you've got to set up prior to having a problem an in with, say, a local vet, right? Who likes the nose candy. So you've
Yeah,
set him
well.
up. He's nice and sweet, and now you've got a place to go in the event that you've got a gunshot.
You're just like talking about Bangkok right now. It's just
I'm just look.
It's pretty much Bangkok. You just resume right
I
there.
had an 8-year-old cousin once. I mean, still have. He's not like he's dead or something, but this is a story from when he was 8, and he told lies all the time, and they were really awful lies. They were very stupid, and it was annoying. And everyone tried to get him to stop. They were like, "Will you stop telling these lies? You're not supposed to lie. Lying is bad." All that kind of stuff. And I didn't say that. I was offended that his lies were so terrible. They were terrible lies. My family is much better at lying than my little cousin was representing me. Frankly, I was embarrassed.
I see what you mean.
He was out there. So I sat him down and I explained to him how lies work. I explained to him how they get caught, how you get caught in a lie, and how you need to tell a lie such that you don't get caught.
You're worse than me.
Now, immediately after doing that, the lies immediately stopped. No one else was going to get him to stop lying. I got him to stop lying immediately. Or did I? And maybe in a moment, he suddenly started telling lies that were effective. That's possible. I don't think so. Mostly what happened was he realized how transparent and retarded his lies were. Yep. And he stopped, and he actually became a relatively honest kid thereafter. I'm not going to claim he's perfect.
What you're doing, what you're saying right now is what we need to do with 94% and 90% of all Democrats.
Hey, I think that's an important thing to explain as well. So let's say you are a narcissistic, egomaniacal, crazy, power mad sociopath. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
And you are looking at politics that seem to facilitate your ambitions towards the crazy Dr. Evil pinky towards mouth power, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why don't we talk about the problems with that idea? And we're not going to say taking over the world is bad. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to say, okay, so this is the problem you're going to have running your evil empire. And you basically make a case for it not being worth it. It's not worth it. You want to make a shitload of money. You want to have respect and a sense of accomplishment in your life, agency in society, and so on. Well, why don't you try not being a shithead? And I'm going to show you here are all the problems. You work on your little crazy scheme. Well, you got to have your henchmen. You got to have your volcano lair. There's always you have these British motherfuckers showing up every once in a while with their goddamn martinis, blowing everything up and fucking your girlfriend. It's out of control.
If you want, what you mean is if you're going to be a criminal, be a good one.
I think one of the things you learn when you look at crime is that it's a Ponzi scheme.
It always is.
And once you understand that crime is generally speaking a Ponzi scheme, you realize that whilst it may be advantageous for a very small number of people to basically fuck over predominantly the people in their own organization and then everybody else as they create this parasitic Ponzi scheme, which is what a criminal enterprise generally is. You as a young man, your interest is in having a good life, having respect, having upward mobility, maybe getting the girlfriend you want. You're not going to accomplish that by becoming a stooge for an operation that's going to chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah, but you have to stop them before they get there, and that's the ideology of
they think they're going to get somewhere. So if you get the 50-year-old blood or crip that comes in and says, you think you're joining something that is going to give you something. What you got to understand is you got suckered, son.
Yep. And that's a lot what happened with Antifa and BLM. There's a lot of people in that okay, they don't help themselves, but they are predominantly in a pattern of being used by someone in that perspective. Like they only prey on the weak, and that it's our responsibility as a citizen example to not let them do that and take the weak and try to push them towards something right.
Well, help the weak become strong too.
Yeah, because the weakest link of your chain is the part where it's gonna fail. So you better go and make it strong than have all the structure.
Wow. So this is the guy that got shot. I just saw him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. This guy was
Antifa for life.
Yeah, Tifa for life. So this guy was a snowboarder, I think, snowboard instructor amongst his other career opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
Where is that?
the guy.
This is the guy that got killed in the Antifa guy got killed, I guess, somewhere in Washington State. He got tracked down by U.S. Marshals, and he resisted. So let's see. I had no choice. Suspected Portland protest killer Michael. Antifa security guard allegedly being eyed and has broken his silence.
This guy.
Yeah, so he confessed. He confessed he did it. He said he had no choice.
Yeah, he's got the power fist on his neck.
So Vice pretty much killed this dude because they went and they made a small interview with him that he confessed to murder, and then the marshals went and.
Well, yeah, if you confess to the murder, you need to be in custody.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you go to prison, but nope. But you're gonna be taken to jail. There's gonna be bail. There's gonna be a court date set. That's happening.
Yeah.
All right. So I got 2 more things to show, and then I'm gonna end the stream. It's already midnight. Yep. So this one is more of a funny, and then the next is the feel good.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So I'm sure both of you have already seen this. I love it. It's the funniest shit I've seen in a long time.
So you brought.
Oh yeah.
What else did you bring?
Look, this is not. But they.
And then you sent these pictures.
I don't believe there's anybody out there believes that I have anything other than consistent interest in making sure every child has. These are all our children.
You talk about taking her out to buy sexy bras and panties and thongs.
When I asked him about his obscene
no, I'm just not going to go there. If we keep doing that, there's
something I got to tell you. I'm Chris Hansen, and I work for a show called Dateline NBC.
Oh, come on, man.
I love this. God, come on, man. Poor man.
That's the funniest shit I've seen in a while.
God damn. I find it funny, but at the same time, I feel sorry for the man. He's old.
You think if the shoe were on the other foot, that Joe Biden would pull a single fucking punch?
No.
Don't take your Canadianness, read it back across the border, pal.
No. I'm gonna
build a wall.
No. Wait.
This is the no mercy wall.
No, I feel sorry because he's probably gonna lose his mind before he gets elected.
He's already lost his mind.
No, it's gone. It's been gone.
It's been gone for a while, but I mean, like, lose his mind to say something really fucking awkward. Like,
he's been doing that.
I have hairy legs.
Oh yeah, well, when he was talking about black children and he went to cockroaches right after.
I am Joe Biden's wife.
Yes.
I
am Joe Biden's wife.
Just as bright as white kids.
Yeah, yep. That one just made him look non-racist. He's just not a racist.
If you're having trouble figuring out whether you're voting for me or Trump, you ain't black.
Oh God, that must be one of the most sentences
I've heard
in my life.
A couple of them, though.
That was a conception of magical powers, actually. So you've been talking about the elite conspiracy. Have you considered that they might, in fact, be wizards?
I think that they're lizards.
Well, what if they are? What if they are lizard wizards?
That's my problem right there. Okay. I don't know how I would react to that.
How do you know how to Alakazam your way out of that problem, pal?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Wizard of Oz. Like that.
All you do is you grab an old stick and you wave it around and you say abracadabra.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in all honesty, it's the most weird and funny elections I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
It is definitely wilder than it has ever been.
Yep.
Or
I've
at least
never-
in living memory. I don't think anyone in the last 100 years has seen anything quite as wild as this.
Nope.
I mean, I think it's
we've seen some crazy shit. We've seen race riots. We've seen world wars.
Yep.
We've seen we've seen pandemics before. That's happened. 1917. But this is a wild election.
This is something
This is
weird.
nuts. This is special. So hopefully we don't implode.
It certainly got more people paying attention than any other time in history, I feel, as far as Americans go.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Someone said something interesting. You don't have a choice to interest yourself to politics because politics are interested in you.
Yeah, sounds about right. So the final story, though, in New Guinea, they had these mysterious singing dogs, and they were going extinct. So you look at the doggo. Cute.
Funny.
I'd
It's
like
a
to hear
dingo kind of doggo kind of.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it sing. So they didn't exactly find more of the species. They just found another species that could help carry on the line to help. You know what animals do.
Yep.
And yeah, no, I just thought that was really
it's nice.
Really nice. Like that looks like a good boy.
Yeah,
girl.
and it's cool that they found. But I find it really amazing how animals are resilient to humans. Like they try to survive by just disappearing from humans totally. Like being put. It's almost like they know. Avoid humans. Try to survive.
Yeah, then there's the ones that don't know that and typically die. Like dodos.
Oh, dodos. Dodos are the incredible descendants of stupidity. I think that useful idiots are direct descendants of the dodos.
Although funny thing is, dodos actually weren't wiped out by Europeans.
No.
They were wiped out by the rats that came aboard the ships.
Oh well, yeah, but we brought them.
Yeah, but not.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Europeans just whacking them on the head going, hey, this looks tasty.
Yeah, well, it's like if you're saying to me that the Canadians didn't kill the
dogs
natives.
would kill them for fun, and the Europeans would eat them. Like, look, they were crazy. If you're hungry, there's a dodo walking around, and it's just like bobbling its little stupid fucking head around, and you've got a stick. You're just gonna go take that stick and go whack.
Yeah, it's a
And there you go.
compliant.
I got myself a dodo dinner right there.
Yeah, and they could have actually been fine with that by reproducing, but the rats ate their eggs.
Oh. Oh.
Well,
yeah.
There you go. Whatever.
Natural evolution, bro.
All right, so I have class in the morning. Mackie, do you have anything you want to shill?
Nope, not at all. I'm just glad you got me here tonight. It was fun to be able to talk with you guys.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's kind of hard sticking this to ending at midnight. I expected it to be hard, and this is actually doing better than I anticipated. Well, as always, you typically don't have anything to shill, right?
No. All I shilled today was read up on the fucking ballot before you vote. How about do that? Huh? Rather than people complain about, oh, my democracy is falling. How about you had to participate in the fucking thing? How about that? That's my shill.
I have something to shill. Start reading about your laws.
Yeah. Exactly.
Read about them. It's important.
All right. Well, I will be back on Twitch tomorrow, shooting for about 2 p.m. We will be back the weekly aneurysm, as usual, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. Although next Thursday, I think I'm out, but Thursday after that, let me double check. Yeah, next Thursday I'm out. I got to be up at like fucking 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning that Friday. But yeah, Thursday after that, so the 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back. That works for you, right, Will?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'll see you
I will catch you guys later.
later.